WPEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic.
Good morning. Thought I'd help you wake up.
It's 6 a.m. and you're listening to The John Kincade Show, Philadelphia's longest-running sports talk morning show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Let the party begin!
The show starts now.
Oh, yeah, it starts now. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. Not the best of nights as we begin our Wednesday, which, of course, the 6 o'clock hour is brought to you by our friends at Bradford White Water Heaters, because Bradford White is here for the pro. Not your best night. A night that didn't live up to expectations, but one person did. One person made me smile, and that was Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler made me smile because that was a performance. That was the kind of thing, and that's what I said, is like, can I see Wheeler and Nola back-to-back for around a 4-week period, most of the time look like the dominant guys we saw last year? And last night was absolutely beautiful. Because what I saw on Apple TV was absolute crap. And look, I'm not going to be lectured by the soccer legends, the footies. Well, you don't know enough about the intricacies of the game to say, guess what? What did Bill Clinton say? It was like back in the day when it was going on.
I didn't have sexual affairs with that woman.
Well, that's another one. Maybe it wasn't Bill Clinton. It's the
Don't stop. I'm close.
The idea of I don't know what pornography is was back in the Supreme Court at the time. I don't know what pornography is, but I know it when I see it. I know what a crappy performance is when I see it. Spin it any way you want. Try any kind of lipstick on the pig. That was terrible last night. And the Phillies game wasn't bad. It's just that the offense is now giving you 2 runs in 27 innings against 2 playoff teams. You're playing good teams. This is where you're supposed to be. Okay, I hear, well, you're losing games to bad teams. Well, these are the good teams. 2 runs in 27 innings. And the approach at the plate has slipped, but they faced some good pitching. Really good pitching. So I'm not going to ring any alarms on that, because Zach Wheeler has made me smile this morning, Bob, and it's about the only thing that's making me smile this morning, except when we talk about the Eagles a little bit later on.
Yeah, I talked yesterday about how I needed to see that from him last night. It was one of my topics yesterday. I wanted him to show that form that he had last night. And he can say he wants to be every 4 days, and I'm not saying this is a direct result of having extra rest, but it's good to see he had such a great outing with the extra rest.
He did.
In that, okay, you can't say that that's going to be a hindrance anymore. Maybe extra rest is something good, whatever it may be. But his performance was phenomenal. I continue to think in my mind, and I don't think we've talked about it enough, Alec Boehm's defensive play is just unbelievably good this year. Look, there's been some errors. He had one on Sunday. I hear you. But remember where we were looking at him last year at third base.
In May, it was terrible.
Yeah, you got to move him to first. You got to figure him out. 2 horrible corner defensive guys in him and Hoskins. And he is just, that play last night to cut the guy down at home, that was awesome. Going the
fantastic.
other way. For a 6'5" guy to do that, that's not easy.
That's why last night sucks, Connor, and I know I watched your breakdown after the game. It sucks to lose, but that's not a game where I'm wanting to toss the remote and saying, that's terrible. But Sir Anthony Dominguez is terrible.
Yeah, he's had a really rough year.
It's terrible.
I'm proud of you where you're at mentally this morning.
No, I mean, I take away the Wheeler's the biggest thing that's going to matter.
Absolutely. You saw a great thing from him last night. Now, Kyle Schwarber in left field, you're going to have to figure out something that he's not out there in the postseason.
He's horrendous.
Yeah, he is. And Sir Anthony has not been himself this year. But when you get Jose Alvarado back, hopefully it covers up for more of that. I mean, I don't think, like you were saying, there's any major flaws in the team that we didn't know about that were revealed last night. Like, I think it was just, you saw a tough pitcher. You played a tight game. You didn't make enough plays down the stretch. And the offense needs to wake up a little bit, but they will. Like, we've seen
it'll
enough
come
from
around.
Them that
Connor said it early that Kikuchi It's going to be tough
He's a
to
hell of a
score
player.
runs off of him. And Kyle or Connor, I don't know why I said
Do you know
Kyle.
who I am over here?
I'm reading a story with the headline Kyle that Connor tweeted out that it's going to be tough for the Phillies tonight. And he was spot on.
Yeah,
Spot on.
well, I said yesterday morning, I bet the under.
Yeah, 2 at-bats in. I was like, oh, this is going to be a problem.
I bet the under. That game screamed under. I said it yesterday all morning. That game, and I hate betting unders, but that game screamed under.
You were right.
And it was a good game, and I'm not going to be bothered by that one. I do want to start to beat some of these teams and score some runs.
Yeah, you need to
these
win
are
tonight.
two playoff teams. Right now, the Twins suck, but they're a playoff team right now because they play in a crappy division. But you're playing two teams that are going to play in October, and you've gotten 2 runs in 27 innings.
Yeah, if you don't win tonight, then we get into the territory of, okay, I don't really care if it's 2 good starts. You got to find a way to start winning ball games. But, yeah, if you split with Toronto on the road, that's okay. I mean, we're good with that. It makes tonight more important.
Now, you are sounding wonky to me this morning. Now, Bob, you asked it yesterday if it was your headsets. You do
Yeah, your
sound wonky.
microphone
Yeah, I don't
sounds
know.
either
I'll
overmodulated
get
or
engineering
something.
and-
Yeah.
Now, I
Take
mean,
a
I
look
know
at
that, Jen Scordo sounds fantastic on the best show ever.
I don't know. I'm not doing anything different back here.
Why don't you text Jen, see if she's up,
Okay.
see what makes her sound so good. It just sounds weird.
Yeah.
A little bit
I
this
don't
morning.
know.
Maybe spin it around or something. Hey, free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Now, do we have a morning mind bender, Connor?
We do. How does that sound? Is that any
No,
better?
it sounds
that's
worse.
worse.
That's
Yeah, I was
far
gonna
worse.
say, that's
Now
definitely the wrong side of
Okay,
the
that's
mic.
better.
Yeah.
That's better.
Yeah. Okay. Yes,
All
we
right.
do have a morning mind bender. All right. This extremity of the human body has no muscles. Do you guys know what it is?
This extremity has no muscles.
No, because I think I've heard this before.
I'd say it's the ear.
An interesting guess.
I think the ear is just cartilage.
It's an interesting
I
guess.
think John got it. I think it is ear.
Well, the ear, I don't know if I would technically call that an extremity. And it's
It
not the
is.
answer to this question.
Wait a minute, it is an
The
extremity.
answer
Your
to
nose.
this question, there are no muscles in your fingers. Your fingers are
was gonna
completely
say
controlled
pinky, but-
by muscles in your palms and your forearms.
Really?
About
Yeah,
that.
so there's no muscles. When
I
you
would
move your
never have known
fingers,
that.
It's all further up the arm. That's why Bob gets pins and needles when his shoulder or neck is bothering him, because those are the muscles that all handle your fingers.
That's it. That's it. I would
Interesting.
never have guessed that.
Very
Yeah.
good, Connor. Good
that-
question today.
Now I'm going to guess you get you to guess something. 2 runs in the last 27 innings for the Phillies before we move on. But the Phillies' record in their last 33 games. Take a guess.
Phillies record
In their last 33?
Yep.
17 and 16.
Yeah, they're 17 and 16.
I'm going to also
Good
guess
job.
17 and 16.
Good
That
job,
was
Connor.
very good. Yeah, Bobby. 17 and 16. So they're not playing good ball. That is the definition of just averages grits, as they would say in the South. Averages grits.
Yeah.
Now, last night, Lionel Messi came to Delco, and what a wasted opportunity. The whole country's watching. Everybody's watching. Everybody's excited. A big chance for the Union to step up on a big stage and really sort of seize the excitement. Now, I will have to say, I'm sure the Union players really appreciated like 35-40% of the crowd being people from like Doylestown and Broomall and everything rooting for Messi and cheering for him throatily at that game, which I just I can't I just do not like it, can't handle it, don't like it, but that's me. You choose to do what you want to do. You choose to root against the local team, you can do it on your own. But that was the local team, Bob, did not give them anything to cheer about. That thing was over. That thing was over before it started, and they sucked the life out of the building, and that's on the Union. That's not on the interlopers who either came in or the guy from Doylestown who just had to come and worship at the altar of Messi and root against a Philly team. It was like they took the crowd right out of the game.
They did, yeah. It's a shame because I was telling you guys I don't have Apple TV, so I was doing some things trying to get it, couldn't get it, had to run an errand. I put it on the radio not 5 whatever minutes after it started, and I hear it's 1-0 already, and it's just like, oh, what a downer.
And you didn't hear the second goal.
And then the second goal, when I was driving home, or after I got home, I was able to see it, and yeah, it didn't. Like Andre Blake on that goal, like his anticipation of shots is unbelievable. He didn't get from midway to the goal to the left side of his goalpost.
It was unbelievable.
It took forever, it seemed like. So, yeah, different outing. Look, when something like that happens, when you're playing the best player in the world, when it's an event like that, and we talked about it all day yesterday and whatever, yeah, the result is horrible, but going through it is good. And I talked about this with you guys before, that last year when Bryson Stott was struggling in the playoffs, but he had that one at bat, and he battled, although his playoff numbers didn't look good at the plate. He went through it. He knows what it's like now. There's nothing that's going to be unexpected. Yeah, this Union team has lost in a final in a horrendous way, and now they've played the best player in the world and came up with a lame effort and all. But I still think it is kind of building blocks. And I know we don't have much patience in this city, but they got to their first final last year. For the rest of this season, at least, I can't see this game not helping them.
Hey, the only thing is that, Connor, and again, I am not enough of a footy to be able to break down like what they did wrong last night or anything. All I know is it was crappy. But the idea that this team has had so many bad losses, so many kicks in the groin, I've never seen them learn from them.
Yeah, they're a true Philly team.
No.
I mean, listen.
No.
Yeah, it's kind of what the last year's been. Get close and come up short in a painful way. But you're right. Now, the last two tough ones, it's hard to look at this one, and I know they came out flat and everything, but Messi, just him being on the field, he doesn't even have to do anything. It just makes the opponents tighten up.
Really? Yeah. That's like saying then the Sixers when Kobe comes in or whatever. But I mean, it's because it's the talent.
It's not the same thing as Kobe coming in. It's like Kobe steps on the court in a high school gym.
Yeah, but he's one of 11 guys.
I know, but let's think about this. If you're playing football, and let's say you're like a D3 college football player, and you know Brian Dawkins is playing safety out there, are you making the plays over the middle you normally would as a wide receiver? He doesn't have to hit you. He just has to be there, and people are off where they need to be.
Well, you're going to have to tell me because the D3 thing I don't understand.
I think you understand that Brian Dawkins taking your head off at any level.
Brian Dawkins, Connor, it wouldn't matter for me because I would soil myself.
That's the point, though.
They couldn't be wearing the white. The thing is, though, that shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen. You're talking about professionals. These guys are professionals, whether you like it or not, to sit there and be in awe. And the Apple TV broadcast sort of said the Union's giving him. The Union looks like sort of playing scared, like they're just sort of they're in awe. It just is surprising.
It goes back to being younger when I was playing high school ball, and like I told you, we played against the number one team in the country, and people come out with this scared and intimidated. God, I hated that. As a player, I hated it. You're never scared. You're playing a game. You're not scared. You're not intimidated. Maybe the other team's better than you, or they just have way more talent than you. I'm with you, John. I would find it hard-pressed for a professional to go out on any court, pitch, ice, and be scared.
I got the opportunity here, right? I have the opportunity to go up against and by the way, he's one guy. So there are things you can do. Obviously not.
Didn't look like it.
Well, guess what? It tells me something about, since he's come to the MLS, it tells me something about the MLS.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, we all know that. Yeah.
I didn't know. I'm not enough schooled to know how big the drop-off is.
Who was it? Me and you talking about it yesterday, how, like, this is probably, and not being a soccer knowledge guy, but it's nowhere close to any of the Premier League and a lot of leagues over there that are probably far better than this. But it's a nice league, and it's fun, and I love it. And I love watching the Union. I think Jim's done a great job, all of those things. But if you're comparing it to other leagues in the world, it's I don't know where it ranks, but it's not like top 3, top 4.
What was really interesting was the idea of, on the news, local news, 2 different channels. They interviewed big Union fans. Big Union fans. By the way, 3 ponytails out of 5. Just the
ponytail's coming back.
The ponytail's huge for the so big Union fans, and 4 out of the 5 big Union fans had on Messi gear.
Well, you
So
have to
don't
look
tell
at
me-
it this
Yeah,
way. No, you can, because soccer didn't start here and didn't get popular
I got
until
you.
like 5 years ago. So how did soccer fans become soccer fans? It was through the likes of Lionel Messi and other guys that were playing far away from here in other countries. So
I got
those
you.
are the people you idolize who brought you into the sport. Now you have your own local sporting team, and they're like, oh, good, yeah, I'm a Union fan. But they wouldn't have been soccer fans had it not been for Messi. I'm not making excuses for him. I just kind of understand it.
No, but I mean, that is you're going to root for the Union. I'm a big Union
I
fan.
don't know why this bothers you so bad.
Because it's just, I don't think that it, I think it sucked last night. That 35. Now, Ray Dunn was there because I had two friends there that said 40% of the crowd they guessed was non-union.
Yeah.
And Ray Dunn said he would have guessed 65-35. So it's the same sort of number. I think that sucks. I think it sucks for the Union players. I think it stinks. That I'm a big Union fan on the news, and here's my Messi jersey. I'm like, dude, it's a Union match. The Union's trying to win something of monumental proportions.
I think they get it. Like, it's not apples to apples, but like the Sixers, they would play a team from China every once in a while in the preseason. Like, if LeBron went over there to play, there would be people who root for that Chinese team wearing LeBron James jerseys because it's LeBron.
If you're in Philly and you're going to a Sixers game and LeBron comes in, you're a big LeBron fan. You're a big Sixers fan.
It's not the Sixers,
Why?
though, because Leo Messi is just so above every player on the Union.
LeBron James.
Yeah.
LeBron James is every bit to the NBA what Messi is to soccer. Every bit.
But not to the MLS.
No, but in his sport. So Sixers fans, I'm a big Sixers fan, but I'm going to wear LeBron James stuff to go to the game. I'm still a big Sixers fan, but I'm rooting for LeBron. LeBron's here tonight.
Because basketball's here.
Yeah.
Like, these people that became soccer fans younger couldn't do it here because there was no soccer here. So they grasped onto the international sport of it, and that was Lionel Messi.
I got you, but how long has soccer been here? 12 years? I'm trying to do the math. I mean, it's
you're also it hasn't been popular since, had grown in popularity since like the last 5. And you're talking, 40-year-old people that adored soccer, and this is the guy that was the reason why. So, yes, you're rooting for the hometown team, but the guy that brought you into the sport came into your city. So
I got you.
I understand the wow factor of it all.
It's fine. I mean, I just don't understand rooting for somebody coming into your building. If you're a big Union fan, you're rooting for the Union.
Yeah.
And you can say, I was there to see Messi. You're still there. Your eyeballs still see it. You still get the joy of seeing the greatest player ever, but you're supporting the home team.
Yeah, here's the real issue.
He got cheered for last night wildly.
Wow. He's Messi.
Even when he scored against the Union.
He's a soccer rock
When he
star.
scored against the Union.
I bet you if you went to 90% of Union fans from the age 30 up, and you ask them who's your soccer idol,
he might be
it's not
half
going
of
to
them.
be Glesnes or Gazdak or whatever. It's going to be freaking Lionel Messi.
That's fine.
Like, that's just the way it is.
No, we've got a bigger issue, though, because Messi comes in to Miami just out of nowhere from over in Europe, and he ends up pushing the Union out of the League's Cup. Gareth Bale comes in last second for LAFC last year from over in Europe. Here's the thing. We need to make Philadelphia more European-friendly. So we get these guys to come to Philly. We need to start serving cheesesteaks on baguettes instead of Omarosa rolls.
I'm not sure that Chester's the way to do that. And though it's a beautiful stadium, I'm not sure that's the way to do it when you're competing against LA, Miami, and things like that.
I'm just saying we look into it.
Yeah, we'll look into it.
Maybe post some
I'll put you on the job of it. If you see a Cleveland Brown today, be careful. Don't bump into them. They're very sensitive. We'll get to that next. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. With the Birds in training camp,
Whether you're at home or on the go, listen to 97.5 The Fanatic on Odyssey on your smartphone, Roku, LG Smart TV, Waze, and more. That's Odyssey, AUDACY. Check it out now.
Hey, imagine that.
Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Want to tell you all that there's a FanFest online ticket raid today. Had a bunch of people lined up Saturday out with Chunas.
Yeah,
Not
they
just to
sure
see
were.
Chunas.
They
were
all
there for
around the
FanFest
block
tickets.
and stuff, and Marlton, I think it was.
It was great.
I think the line came all the way into Cherry Hill. It was wild.
FanFest 2023 with FanDuel, so Bob's excited about that too. They make every moment more, right?
Way to go,
Bob?
FanDuel. Yeah, awesome.
Saturday, August 26th at Xfinity Live, the biggest day. We'll have, of course, you'll be hanging out with Nick Foles.
Oh, will we?
Yes, you'll be watching the Sixers, the Flyers, the Union will be there. Lou Williams will be there. Scott Hartnell will be there. Ray Shrimmer will be there, and also Fallout Boy.
There's
next-
a rumor.
A rumor?
A rumor.
Of?
There's a rumor that a former safety is going to be there also.
Oh, that'd be nice too.
Yeah, number
That'd be
20.
really, really nice.
Yeah, a guy that turned into a comic book figure when he came out of the tunnel.
Well, he's pretty tough.
Yeah, so that's cool too. So it's going to be awesome.
Hey, Wednesday, today, noon. I wanted to make sure I got the word out there for you early listeners. There is a online ticket raid today, halfway through Cuz Radio. So make sure that you take care of it today at noon. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, get your tickets.
I meant to ask Mike from Delran yesterday. So one of my buddies who gives out tickets at his work, he's got like 30 people coming,
Okay.
family, friends,
Right.
all that stuff. He's like, yeah, we'll be there to tailgate at 9:30. And I'm like, 9:30? We start at 11.
We start at 11, yes.
Like, that's not really good. So I got to ask Mike from Delran, what time does the YouTube, because he parties with the YouTube people also. What time does the tailgate start the weekend out? Because I'm thinking of getting over there around 8:30.
My guess would be 8:30.
I'm thinking 8:30 is a good time.
Is
Connor?
that it, Connor?
Yeah, 8:30 is fine unless you want to get out there at 8.
Well, then, no, that's great,
8's a
too.
better time.
Maybe 7:30.
I know.
I mean, we're up at like 4:30 a.m. every day. Why not 4:30?
How about this one for you? For our special, and we'll open up admission to this coming up probably like next week, for our first Football Friday,
Ooh.
as Chucky D has called it, because we're shifting First Friday to the first Football Friday, which is Friday the 8th, because Friday the 1st is Labor Day weekend. A lot of people are off. Bob, I think you and I are both off. So first Football Friday, as Chucky D said to call it yesterday, and I think it's a great line. We have already got a confirmation E-Rock is coming.
Cool.
And he goes, you had me at football. You had me at football.
You know who might be coming to also, John?
Who's that?
How about that Joey Merton?
Joey Merton is finally going to show. Wait a
Friend of
minute.
the show, Joey Merton says he wants to come on Friday.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard of Joey Merton.
Oh, yeah, he's going to show
But I
his
think he's
face.
like that Dove Kleiman that covers the NFL on Twitter. He doesn't exist. He's not a real person.
Like Kyle Cooney.
He's not a real person. No, I've
John
met
has met
Kyle.
Kyle Cooney.
I've met Kyle, and Kyle
Kyle will be in
Connor-
town today.
Don't worry, guys. You guys are really selling it.
Connor,
Keep it
just I
going.
can tell you, not only was he Division I, but Connor, he is a impressive young man.
You're really selling it.
He has a very strong handshake and serious nature about him when he
He's a good
talks
kid.
about things. Great kid. You should be
he's
very
a great
proud.
kid. And speaking of First Fridays, I was talking to Dumph last night about something else. We were just going. So he gave me a call, and he just threw in there. He goes, "I had a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun on that First Friday
Well,
coming
Dumph
in the
was
studio.
great. That was
and
awesome.
It was funny when we were putting this together a long time ago, and I brought up Dumph. It was basketball season when we were saying, and I could see the look on the younger kids' faces, kind of like, Fran Dunphy, he's been around forever, maybe, or whatever. He came in, and everybody to a man was impressed with
Well, he
him.
also owns the room.
He does. He's
Because
just
he's a
that guy.
coach, right? I mean,
He's a coach. Yeah, but yeah.
Didn't Jimmy Lynam do the same thing?
Oh, yeah.
The same
Jimmy
thing I
Lyon
saw-
does. Jay Wright does it. Most not Division I, but most coaches do know how to command a room. Yeah.
Well, also, too, though, is that I saw when Fran Dunphy was there, when Jimmy Lynam was with us, they played to the room. They had the conversation, but they addressed the room, too, which creates that energy, which is great. We love First Friday, and we look forward. First Football Friday will come up September the 8th, and we're going to want you to be there for it. And next week, we'll start telling you about the jury and how you can be seated and more. So that'll be coming your way. Connor, you said yesterday, why not get a little irrational
Yeah, sure.
about Jalen Carter?
Yeah, I love that. Take the ride.
Okay, I'm taking this from the Cleveland Plains Dealer, which I didn't even know was still in existence. Jalen Carter recorded 2 sacks, a tackle for loss, a fumble recovery, and a quarterback hit. But not more. He also pancaked a 5-time Pro Bowler to the ground during 11 on 11 yesterday. This is a Cleveland beat writer saying this man is going to be a monster in the NFL.
Yeah, love to hear it.
Oh my gosh. So because I'm starting to do the joint practices much better to me. When I'm seeing that I got a preseason game, I don't give a damn about like Saturday night, Ben Cleveland. I watched enough of Ben Cleveland. I watched enough of Jalen Carter. Ben Cleveland, Jalen Carter run completely different levels within the Georgia program. But when I'm hearing that, he dominated the practice. He was the best defensive player against the Browns. Do you know who this writer said was the second best?
Nolan
Reed
Smith?
Blankenship.
What?
Yes.
Ed
He
Reed
had a couple of
Blankenship?
pips.
They can't get over Reed Blankenship. They're like, who is this Reed Blankenship and how did he go undrafted? Like they're raving Cleveland writers because I think right now I almost want to hear more from the opposition because they know how good their players are, and when they hear their players getting dominated, it sort of means more to me because they're saying, "Hey, our guys, a 5-time Pro Bowler, got pancaked, got dominated." I mean, I'm excited.
I also think the two might go hand in hand. If you get that push, if you get that real stud play up front from the likes of Jalen Carter, which allows Sweat and obviously Reddick and guys to dominate a quarterback and take maybe a half a second away from them, I think it's going to make the Ed Reed Blankenships of the world look better, right? Because quarterbacks are getting pressure, because it makes it easier on safeties to play that way when quarterbacks are under pressure. And Sidney Brown is getting a lot of hype also, the rookie out of Illinois. Heat-seeking missile at safety they're talking about. They're really liking his play. Had 9 tackles the other night in the game. So that's another guy to keep an eye on at safety. It could be that we're pleasantly surprised coming out of training camp that they might have 2 real young kids as their starting safeties.
I'm here for it, Connor.
Yeah.
I'm here for a youth movement when you've got enough veterans everywhere else. I'm for throwing the young kids to the wolves, at least early on, and seeing how they do.
Totally agree, and it seems like they're making the grade right now. You're also you remember when we've had that conversation before about how you're uncomfortable with rooting for like a front-running Eagles team, like a team that's supposed to be all this good.
It's just uncomfortable because it's different, right?
Yeah, exactly. You're making the next step where you're going from comfortability to, okay, we could be a little bit cocky with this. I hear something good about Jalen Carter. He's the best damn player in the draft. Because this organization is just giving you reason to talk well about this team and maybe go above and beyond because there's a good chance they're going to reach those expectations.
Said the last rookie yesterday, NFL Live, last rookie that talking to people around the league, and we'll ask Adam Schefter about it, that got this kind of buzz from people going, oh my gosh, it's a certain guy who plays for the Dallas Cowboys but really wishes he was a Philadelphia Eagle.
And that would be one of Micah Parsons.
Yes. So, by the way, Mary Kay Cabot is a great writer from Cleveland, and she was one of the people just raving on the Eagles yesterday. But she also said that that there were some cheap shots taken. The Eagles came out a little chippy, and so that there was some of that going on yesterday. And it was funny because their Pro Bowler, Joel Bitonio, he says that there were cheap shots taken. And I'm going to quote him. He said they were playing a little loose and fast with Deshaun Watson. Now, I didn't think anybody could be too loose or too fast for Deshaun Watson. I'm telling you. The history would tell you otherwise. That was a little surprising. But Deshaun Watson wants no part of the Eagles tonight. He will tomorrow night. He will not play. So he is not playing tomorrow.
I understand, the hardest part of sports is when you tell somebody, all right, slow it down. You're going to play at one pace and everybody else has to play at another. That's tough, and when you do that, you're trying to prevent injury. I would get pissed off if somebody went full speed and they know our quarterback is not, and they come into a bit of a gray area there. It's always going to happen.
I get it.
Because it's a controlled thing. I don't think it's a huge deal. I think it's fine.
Do you think, too, that the Eagles were doing something that Cleveland wasn't? I mean, or is that could be sensitivity. It could be that the Eagles came out a little pissed off that they didn't really dominate the first day and wanted to make a statement.
Well, think about that. Your coach gets on. You have a controlled practice one day against the other team, and it didn't Tuesday. What's today? Today's
Wednesday.
Right,
today's
so
your
Monday.
Friday. For your Friday, it's Wednesday for all of us slugs.
So Monday, the Eagles didn't look all that good against Cleveland, right? So what's going to happen? Your coach is going to take you in. They're going to point out what they didn't like. They're going to pump you up and say, you better get this crap corrected. Let's go. So now your engine's going 1,000 miles an hour, and then you're supposed to, after 8 or 9 hard steps fighting somebody, now you're supposed to tiptoe. It's hard.
You can't.
It's not
easy. You just can't do it.
It's like football players talk about. I forget who it was. I don't know if it was Brian Dawkins or not. But them talking about, you know what? It might have been Runyon I was talking to. And he said, people expect us to get out on that field and just kick ass and dominate and stuff. You think you can do that for a few hours and then just turn it off afterwards? Or not to? You know how hard it is to come off the field and play yourself down from a game where where your engine is just going crazy for that long? It's awfully hard. So imagine you're having to do it in-game to slow yourself down. It's not an easy task. So I understand the Browns getting pissed off. If it happened to the Eagles, they would get pissed off also. But it's hard. It's real hard.
I'm embarrassed to say it, Bob, but I'll say it because I'll be honest with you when you said it. After a huge Eagles win, it takes me time to calm down. I can't go to bed night games.
Yeah.
Like a night game, they win a big night game and it's 11:30 and the game's over. I'm like, okay, I know I got to be up at 4 a.m., but it's 12:45, 1 o'clock, and I'm still trying to wind down enough. I can only imagine being a player in those games. But I've covered enough training camps in my life and been at enough NFL training camps, there broadcasting otherwise. We don't get that access here in Philadelphia, thanks to a rule that the Eagles have. But the idea of I've never heard veterans talk so much about the younger players. Ever in my life have I ever heard it. Any training camp I've ever been a part of, have I heard veterans being so effusive in their praise of rookies. It's surprising to me. And all the young players that maybe it's a brotherhood thing where it's something conscious the Eagles are trying to do. We know we need these young guys to step up, so we're going to build them up. But Connor, I've never heard such praise ever in my life, and I've been to 20-some years of these things.
Well, when was the last time you saw a collegiate defense like the Georgia Bulldogs has put out over the past couple of years? And when was the last time you saw like 4 of their top 6 players on that side of the ball end up on the same team? Like, that just doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't.
That's another thing, right? These guys, the young guys, are all familiar with each other. It feels like normally when you're going from college to the NFL, I imagine it feels like you're graduating from college and going to the real world where you're not going to work with your buddies or anything like that. These guys have it more like you're graduating from middle school and you're going to high school with all your buddies again, and you're way more comfortable. And you step on that field and you're like, oh, well, I've had class with this guy and I played with this guy. I was next to him in college. And that doesn't make them great players, but it makes them comfortable and puts them in an environment where maybe it's easier to learn.
A support system?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what, Connor, you come up with a lot of smart stuff. Like, I never thought about it that way. That could be what is helping them
Sure, yeah.
in this transition is the fact that they're comfortable. They all hang out together.
Yeah.
Look,
They're like brothers.
the skill set of professional athletes is at another level, no matter the sport, right? So what is it that puts you over the top? It could be, self-induced, like you have a motor that just won't quit. But it's also, to me, confidence and comfortability. Like when you're comfortable and you have confidence, it makes things so much. Your talent's going to be there. But when you have that, and Connor hit it on the head, it's going to be so much better for you and for your teammates.
And to just understand the mentality, Kirby Smart isn't warm and fuzzy like Nick Sirianni. Kirby Smart, though, appears to be every bit. Kirby is, I can say, every bit as where Sirianni tries to think of everything. He does think of his players and try to avoid, what does Saban say? The rat poison. So Kirby does the same type of thing. Is that keep them focused, keep them everybody grounded, and it's amazing what these young men are doing early on. Long way to go.
Yeah, and I need to hear the name of another young man from that school that you're talking about.
I think you're talking about JD.
Yeah, you see little notes. Just he got dominated in this, or he didn't show up in that. I haven't seen had a great day yet. And Jordan Davis is definitely, he's got the bullseye on his back for me.
No, I think Bob. He was a mid-teen. What was he? 13, 15? I can't remember where the pick was. I mean, he has a bullseye on his back just by where he was drafted.
Sure.
I mean, and more importantly, they sure as hell need him.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, if Jordan Davis doesn't contribute this year, that's going to look really, really bad if he doesn't step up and contribute. And by the way, Nakobe Dean reportedly having a fantastic day yesterday and firing off on the ball and just the great speed. So more effusive praise, and I took every bit of the praise that came from the Cleveland writers, not from Philly writers, because I'm interested. They know the Cleveland talent, and when they tell me someone's getting dominated, Connor, I sort of take it a little bit more because they know what these guys are like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Better.
You're getting, we've heard, and we have great reporters in the city, but when you hear reports every single day from them in training camp, it turns into white noise a little bit by this point of the year, so it's nice to hear a different perspective.
Hey, the next PJ's half-price wing night is Tuesday, so bring the whole family to PJ's for half-price wings. The wing of the month is fire-breathing scorpion.
Cherry Hill will be in.
Cherry Hill, you'll be there for
New
that
Jersey.
One.
Yes.
I wish I could be there with you. It's going to be a
Tommy Cooney's birthday.
Oh, that's even better.
We're going to celebrate Tommy Cooney's birthday in Cherry Hill.
What date is that? On the 24th.
Thursday the 24th.
So please put it on your calendar. Now, the fire-breathing scorpion, Doc would saddle up for that. The fire-breathing scorpion. I will not. I am not doing the fire-breathing scorpion. Little too much.
Yeah,
that'd be a little too much for me, and I like hot, but I don't like that. That to me sounds like Jim from PJ said, "Okay, I want a challenge before football season. Let's get everybody in here. I want a challenge," and threw it because fire-breathing scorpion it scares me reading it.
Yeah,
I'm not doing fire
I'm a baby when it comes to real hot stuff. I'm not. No,
Dude, he loves it. We're taking Doc out tonight to celebrate his retirement.
All right, way to go, Doc.
Saying, what's he doing?
Where are we going?
What's he do? We're going to La Lacanda.
La Lacanda.
La Lacanda. A great Italian spot out there. What, Connor? That's the song.
That's La Bamba, but close enough.
No, when you come in, they sing La Lacanda.
Do they actually?
I don't think so.
Oh,
they know. Maybe if it's your birthday.
Sounds like fun though.
Hey, good Italian food. And by the way, I give it a good thumbs up. Yeah, it's always a fun time. All right, coming up, Bob Cooney has an honest question for us. Does Bob Cooney ask dishonest questions? We'll find out. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. I know Landis Block and Concrete helped us create a beautiful, jaw-dropping backyard paradise. How do I know? Because Tony, who built our
Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Remember, if you haven't gotten your tickets yet for FanFest 2023, which comes up now in 9 days. Wow. 9 days? 10 days, 9 days, whatever. Comes up on a Saturday.
A week from Saturday. How about
from
that?
Saturday.
Yeah,
How about that one? You have an online ticket raid today, halfway through Cuz Radio at noon. Don't miss it because you're running out of chances to get your tickets to the big event. We'll have a good time there, and we look forward to that. Plus, remember, it's a Wednesday, so Adam Schefter will join us coming up today at 8:20. We'll talk to Adam Schefter and get a chance to catch up with Adam and find out about the buzz regarding the Eagles youngsters, which is really, really loud across the NFL. Where we begin now, though, is Bob wants to ask us an honest question. Now, I must ask first, Bob, do you ask us dishonest questions on the show?
No, I'm more asking for you to answer honestly.
Okay, that's good then.
You an honest
Do you
question.
think we answered
Yes.
dishonestly?
Do you answer with dishonestly?
Yes, sometimes I think you answer with your hearts and not your heads.
That could be.
Okay,
Could be honest.
But
though.
unless
So
he
take
knows
away
our
the
heads,
pom-poms
he
and
doesn't
take
know.
away all that and answer
All right,
honestly.
where we at?
Are we okay? We're not doing that. All right. So with James Harden, we know how he's handled himself, trying to get out of Houston, then trying to get out of Brooklyn, and successfully did so. Looked like he was coming here because he wanted to come here to win a championship. Now another bad situation arises, and it's not so much that he just wants out. Now he wants vengeance. Like now he wants things to. I'm going to make things really bad for the Sixers. Like this is now it's getting strange / gross. And here's the real bad part of it. And somebody brought this up on Twitter last night. Did he catch them totally off guard with all of this? Like all of a sudden he wants out because the Sixers certainly didn't have an offseason in which they were anticipating Harden not being here.
No.
They got rid of their backup point guard. They don't have a point guard right now if James Harden doesn't play on this team. Why did this all of a sudden come about? Is it James Harden? Is it that he thought he was promised something or he was promised something and now he wants out because that's not happening because they're not paying him a contract that maybe or maybe not that they told him they would pay him? I don't know, but the other situations weren't great. He wanted out, and yeah, John, you've labeled it out so many times, and rightfully so, that he might not have done well by other teams in the way he wanted to get out. But this seems different and harsher. So I wonder, is it on him that he's frustrated with himself and he doesn't know what's going on? He's nervous that his future in the NBA is this murky? Or does he really feel he was justly wronged here or unjustly wronged here?
Well, let's hear Ramona Shelburne, and then we'll answer that because Ramona yesterday sort of sums up, Bob, what you're saying. She sort of talked about it too, strangeness.
Somebody said to me yesterday, this is only the beginning of what James Harden is going to do to make life very uncomfortable for the Philadelphia 76ers going into training camp. The expectation with Harden is that Ben Simmons, they went through this with Ben Simmons. He didn't show up to camp. He left money on the table. That's not going to happen here with James Harden. This is going to be very uncomfortable, but Ben Simmons didn't say anything. Ben Simmons stayed home. This was with a microphone, let me repeat myself. And the phrase I kept hearing was, this is just the beginning. And so I think the Sixers have to ask themselves, what are we prepared for? How do we handle this? Is there any way that they can get through this and still have a productive season?
It's clear they weren't prepared for it.
That's I
as
think
you pointed, they weren't prepared for this.
That's becoming a big story to me.
I think the big deal is, and by the way, on NBA Today, they talked about it. They believe the lie is not that the Sixers guaranteed him a contract for next year. Like a big money, we're going to take care of you. They think James Harden thinks the lie is, you told me if I opt in, you'll trade me. Whereas I think...
Well, that was the second part of it.
And they think that's the lie. They don't believe it's a lie. None of the big insiders seem to say, yeah, they believe the Sixers made him a guarantee of an extension.
I don't
They're gonna
think
give
a
him an
guarantee.
extension.
This is wordy. And I told you I made phone calls the other day. Everyone to a man that I talked to the other day believes that Morey said to him, don't worry, we'll take care of it. Something
then that
along
would
those
be a
lines.
guarantee, though,
then when,
to me.
Well, if it's
Like,
between
when you
two
think?
guys sitting alone and it's like, dude, we're fine. I'll talk to the owners. We'll take care of it, whatever. I think then when that didn't come to fruition and he opted in and said, okay, I'm going to opt in so you can trade me. I'll do that.
And then when he said
they didn't, they couldn't.
This happened right after the Sixers said, we aren't pursuing trades anymore because there's nothing out there. I think he's taken a huge ego hit, Bob.
Could be
I think
also.
the ego hit is he thought he was going to be a hot commodity this summer, and nobody wanted him. James, the Mirror. You've made tens of millions of dollars. The Mirror. Go to Rooms to Go to Ashley Furniture, whatever it is. Go get yourself a mirror and look at it. Nobody wants you. Nobody wants you. Nobody wants to pay you what you think you're worth. Nobody thinks you're as talented as you think you are. You're looking in a mirror and you're seeing James Harden circa, 2016, 15. They're seeing James Harden today, and they saw you crap out 2 years in a row in the postseason. That's who you are. That's who's trying to get paid right now. That guy can't get paid. And you're blaming the Sixers and blaming everybody else? Come on.
All right, so you have to forget your feelings personally towards Harden. Let's try to just look at this subject. What's going on here, and maybe taking the names out of it. The Sixers, as an organization, you would think were either prepared or thought this might happen. If you're a Sixers fan, this is what has to scare you. You're losing your starting point guard. He's not going to play for you.
No.
You didn't say, oh, well, at least they have this, because no,
they didn't do that.
Are you saying that Springer's going to be a guy that's just going to step in and be a point guard for you? I don't know. I always look at the basketball elements of it, as you guys know, and I don't look at the personal stuff or anything like that. As far as basketball goes, they're kind of screwed.
If they knew that James Harden, if they knew they had lied to James Harden, they would have had a backup plan in place for point guard. If they knew that, hey, our lie could come back to haunt us and James may make this uncomfortable, or James may want to go, or James may be pissed off at us, they would have had a backup plan, which they do not have now, Connor. They let it go.
It's an interesting way to look at it.
They're going to have to get something for him.
Right.
They're going to have, and look, it's still a guy that he's the only guy in the NBA that averaged 20 and 10 last year. You can't overlook that. And
obviously,
I think 5 or 6 rebounds. There's goodness there. We can hate what he's done and all of that, but like I said, if you specifically look at a basketball court,
right,
he's still a top 10 point guard in this league.
But aren't NBA teams telling you we don't believe that?
For that money.
No.
Yes, he wants to be paid a fortune.
They're not telling you he's not as talented as you see last year. They're telling you that he wants more than what that talent level suggests and what his postseason record would suggest.
And probably limited teams, sorry to interrupt, probably limited teams that can afford him.
Right, exactly.
I heard yesterday,
automatically.
I think they said 13 teams could potentially swing it.
Oh, I
could potentially
lower
swing
number,
it.
but okay.
But that's what they were with some moving numbers.
Yeah, but I'll ask you this, John, because you bring up the contingency plan. If they thought, okay, well, he's going to get pissed when he finds out that
we're not getting a contract.
What could have been the contingency plan? There weren't really big name free agent point guards out there besides Chris Paul, who's aged. Who could you have gotten?
Okay, well, here's what I'd say to you. Would you? I get you on Chris Paul. Totally get you. But if you knew that you would potentially screwed over James Harden and the reaction might not be good, I'd say if you told me we had Chris Paul right now, I'd feel much better about this upcoming season than I do right now.
Yeah, but it would have been hard for them to do something like that with the money and all that. Impossible is probably the better word. But you don't get rid of other guys that may be able to step into that role. Shake Milton was going to cost you, a couple $1 million a year. You need somebody. You got to have somebody there. And I'm sorry, Tyrese Maxey is not a point guard.
No.
You got to have him off the ball and doing what he does. He's not a point guard to set you up there. So, I don't know. Jaden Springer all of a sudden catapults up to... And I told you guys, I watched him a lot during the summer league. I'm really trying to find an NBA skill set that he has that GMs look at and say, yeah, he does that. That's an NBA skill set. He's a nice player. Not sure what the skill set is.
That scares me.
I mean,
big time,
what do you got? I don't know.
That scares me hearing Bob say that.
Well, we've talked a couple times about how the Sixers realistically might be able to put together the best package for Damian Lillard, even though he doesn't want to come here.
Right.
Could it have been as simple as they thought that was a real possibility, and they looked around the league and they're like, we have the best package of teams that will be interested that are in a competitive window, and then Dame throws a wrench in that by saying,
I ain't coming there.
Yeah, I'm only playing Miami.
That could be. I mean, that could be. I mean, it's as good a theory as any.
Now, that would be short-sighted still because you should have, like, you're an NBA team. You should have 15 contingency plans.
They had no intelligence on the ground for Dame Lillard. They obviously didn't understand that Dame had no – and if Dame had no interest in coming to Philly before, after all this with Daryl Morey and everything, he has zero interest now. You are not getting him to go, I want to go there.
So here's the interesting thing. I am so reminded of a couple of years ago, us sitting here and talking the same way and having the same feelings about Ben Simmons. Like, what the hell's going to happen here? This is unbelievable. Can't believe this is happening to the team. Okay, that wound up. The Sixers got the plus side of that. They did. No matter what you say, they got the plus side of it. You were able to get James Harden, all of that, and you were able to get rid of it's addition by subtraction more than anything else. Are the Sixers going to be able to come out on the plus side of this in any way?
It's hard to say yes. It's much harder to say yes in this scenario than it is with the Ben Simmons thing.
God, the Ben Simmons thing was really bleak, though, Connor.
It was, but you had pieces. You weren't as all in on this core and financially committed to this core as you are
Curry.
now.
You had Curry.
You had Drummond, who was having a good year. Joel Embiid wasn't on the contract that kicked in. Like, you're kind of stuck at this point.
Bob, you scared me a little bit, though, with that analysis that they're just shorthanded right now. They're just not ready. They're not ready.
I mean, who's your starting five? You know, it's simple stuff, and I go on to the basketball court more than I go off of it. I know the situation.
I got you.
I know that this guy's not going to play here. I don't want to have PJ Tucker in the starting lineup, as I've said before. I can't have a guy in there that, okay, good defender, but he does absolutely nothing for you offensively. So I have him out of the starting lineup. Now you don't have a point guard. I don't know what Tobias Harris's deal is going to be. Is he going to be back again this year? Like, it's more than just this is awful with Harden. This isn't good for the on-court basketball team at all right now.
Hey, the all-new Bet Parks app brings you the 7 o'clock hour, the John Kincade Show, sportsbook and casino in one sleek, easy-to-use app. In Pennsylvania and New Jersey, you will absolutely love the Bet Parks app. As we start the 7 o'clock hour, the Eagles had a major issue last year. And I think sometimes, Bob, where you're asking us to take an objective view and put down pom-poms or whatever, I could see this, too, being an issue because we haven't talked about it much because it's never usually talked about on Sports Talk Radio. Special teams. And honestly, with this Super Bowl on the line, the punter cost you, the kick coverage cost you, and you gave the Chiefs the ball first and goal on the 4-yard line with the game on the line. And you let the Super Bowl slip away on special teams. Yet, no changes to special teams. I mean, it's something where we're hearing now, like the punter doesn't look good. He didn't look good last year, the regular season. And he certainly didn't look good when the pressure was on in the Super Bowl. Like, I mean, it's weird. We never talk special teams, I guess, because we don't know all the names. We don't know enough, maybe the expertise of what's the difference between being a really good special teams team and a bad one. But I know this. It's sort of like we said with the Union last night. I know special teams was not good last year. The kick returns were not good. We had a run of like 3 or 4 games where they started running north and south. Special teams coach, poor, the team poor, and it cost them the Super Bowl. It honestly was one of the major issues that cost them. When the crunch time came, they had a major miscarry that the Kansas City Chiefs didn't have. And
they just lost their special teams captain in Sean Bradley.
Yeah.
Amen.
That's big. You might not think it is, but it's huge.
And he was one of the good ones on special teams.
Yeah, very good.
I mean, seriously.
I don't know. I saw A.J. Brown fielding kickoffs and punts and stuff in training camp. I don't think that's going to be a thing. Why they didn't address, I would have 3 or 4 punters in training camp, something. They have 2 guys that are going at it, and every once in a while we'll see a little blurb from, Jeff McClain, last paragraph. When the 2 kicked against each other, neither was impressive. It is. It's scary. Is the punt god still
Yes,
out there?
still available.
I'm grabbing him right away. Like right away.
I just wonder, do the Eagles feel he's too hot to touch? The man was cleared. He was cleared. He was cleared of a false allegation.
Yeah, it's weird that nobody has really gobbled him up. I don't understand it.
It might be the environment today that he was accused and it's still sticking to him.
That's the thing, right?
He was cleared.
Like, this would be a different conversation if another team had picked him up and you're like, Eagles, you had a need here. Why didn't you go get him? The fact that no other team has gotten him with the talent that he displayed at the collegiate level is just, I don't blame the Eagles right now on that. I do think he's a viable option, and I would like to see him here. But if no one else has picked him up, clearly there's something else going on.
Well, reportedly, so I'm reading yesterday, an Arizona newspaper, that a lot of teams felt he came off as really arrogant and really angry. Like that there were like talks that he was angry and guess what? I'd be angry too if I was falsely accused of a crime. And my name was smeared. It cost me millions, maybe potentially $1 million or more. And now my name is cleared and I'm not getting a job. I think I'd maybe feel a little angry myself.
And it's understandable if and I'm sure the Eagles do. They do their homework, and they have the guy Dom that is incredible at background checking it all. There is a possibility because this kid hasn't been signed that yes, he was cleared, but there's still some stuff that makes you wonder, and that's okay. I would rather a team that I follow or whatever err on the side of caution if they have some red flags still up. Cleared, great, but if your character is still very much in question with me, I'm probably moving on.
Yeah, and let's be realistic, right? Because this is important. I'm not trying to undermine the segment because special teams is a big question. But he's not Deshaun Watson. He doesn't play quarterback.
I got you. He's
a punter.
So you're not going to take a chance on...
Are you going to take a risk on a damn punter? I get he's really good. He can kick the ball far. In the grand scheme of football, it still is a minor position. Even though it hurt the Eagles last year, is that where you want to take a risk on the roster?
In the biggest game at the biggest time, it cost you.
Yes.
So I can't consider it minor if I'm the Eagles. But I could have had a parade if I had just been competent.
Yeah. You could have had a parade if your quarterback doesn't have a fumble six.
No, I get you, but still, though, it was a major part of that game at a major time.
Right.
At the worst time, your punter choked.
That's what I'm saying. You're not wrong. I still think when NFL teams look at the punter, they say, we need to have a guy that cannot be problematic at this position.
Hey, Dominion National offers dental and vision plans for everybody, starting at under $8 a month at teethkeepersave.com. You can enroll today at teethkeepersave.com. We had the dumbest conversation yesterday in our post-show meeting, our usual Tuesday meeting.
We did?
Yeah. Regarding pockets.
I must not have been there.
No, you were part of it. And then you were like, okay, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
The pockets on clothing.
Yeah.
And I was surprised, and I should never be surprised by our entire team here at The Fanatic, how passionate we can be about the stupidest stuff, like pockets on clothes. I was surprised that Bob Cooney was a huge advocate, and you were a supporter of the hand warmer pockets on a hoodie, where you just have the pockets where both hands can go in. It's the big, long, square rectangle thing. You put your hands in, and your two hands could meet.
Yeah, those are great.
Nothing can hold. You can't put your wallet in there.
Yeah, you can.
No, you can't put your keys in there.
Maybe not Pat
Because it'll
Egan's
fall
wallet.
out. It'll fall out.
No, they're in there with your hands.
Yeah, you just hold them in there.
You're not holding them with your hands.
Listen, John, a sweatshirt is like a good quarterback. It's all about pocket presence.
Yeah, but sweatshirt's great. I love a sweatshirt. I don't like that front pocket like that.
Oh, no.
And I was surprised, Bob, you were very passionate about it.
That's how you stand and watch it. Like, you're at a high school football game. You got the hoodie on. Your hands are inside the in the pockets of the hoodie. You're good to go.
Yeah.
Now, why not?
That's just the look.
Why not a hoodie with pockets that actually has two pockets where you can actually put stuff
who
in?
knows? So it's a what? You need that divider? Nah, I'm good. Have it all
issue
in
is
one.
the connection,
I can hold
right?
my hands together. I can cup them. I can play with my wedding ring when it's in there. I like the big one pocket.
So you like the big one pocket?
I agree. You get more pocket space out of that one. The divider in the middle is just giving you room for a zipper most times, but I don't need a zipper.
Well, that became the conversation point that a lot of people in the room advocated for. They need the zipper. Like Chucky D was like, you get the zipper, then everything is safe. I mean, it was deep conversation.
Here's
on
what I don't
pockets.
like, and I have one of these. I got it down in South Carolina at the university when my son was going there. It's a 3/4 zip, and it's kind of like that rain, repellent kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's got the pouch zip. I don't like that.
Oh, I don't like the pouch. No, I won't have the pouch.
Because even the pouch zip, you can't put something in there because it makes you look like an idiot. Like, now
It's
you're
like a
walking
fanny
like
pack.
I don't care. Your phone, you look like a kangaroo. You're waiting for a little baby to
Is there
come out
jelly
and
in
look for the teeth. Yeah, I don't like that.
Chucky D did not like the idea is like a 1/4 zip without pockets.
Yeah.
I'm like, when I wear a 1/4 zip, my wallet, my keys are in my jeans. I'm not wearing that with a 1/4 zip that's sort of a heavy 1/4 zip with shorts. I mean, and if you are, your shorts can have pockets.
Yeah.
I don't need pockets on
1/4 zip with shorts is oh yeah.
But I don't need a 1/4 zip. I don't need the 1/4 zip to have pockets. Chucky D was like, I miss pockets on this.
Yeah, the more pockets, the merrier. I got a lot of stuff to carry.
Now you also wear, Connor. Do you or do you not? And I don't think you do this. You do not wear the farmers only cargo shorts
No.
with 19 pockets on them.
No, my shorts aren't long enough for pockets.
Yeah, you don't wear pocket shorts.
Yeah, that's
Bob,
what I
you
need.
do not wear cargo shorts, do you?
Oh, he does.
No, I did the other day. I wore a pair. I used to have. I have some pairs of them, but no, I don't.
I don't think Bob's a
Style-wise,
big
I don't-
cargo shorts man.
No,
is he?
I have old ones when I'm outside painting that I use.
Oh, yeah,
them
like yard
for,
work
like yard
ones.
work because
Yeah.
you can throw stuff in the pockets easily. Yeah.
Okay, so
But,
so
no,
for like yard work
fashion-wise,
and everything,
yeah.
yeah. Because I always think that if you're 30, sort of the cargo shorts sort of go by the wayside.
So if you're
Yeah.
going to a concert tonight, John, you, not me, not Connor,
Right.
you. What do you wear to a concert tonight?
I am wearing shorts that I would wear to golf in. So like golf shorts. So like Under Armour or maybe some Adidas or whatever golf shorts. And I am wearing, now it depends. Is it good? How hot's it supposed to be tonight?
80. It'll be 80.
I'm not wearing a collared shirt then. I'm wearing some sort of shirt that is has the crew neck, not the V-neck. Not wearing V-necks, and just the crew neck T-shirt that hopefully I won't sweat through. It won't be white. So that way if I sweat, it won't look really, really bad. Connor, what would you wear?
Probably go
other
shorts
than
and a
really
t-shirt.
tight shorts,
Connor's mate.
tight short shorts,
Shorts and a t-shirt.
like a Hooters girl. Connor would
Whatever's
look like a
clean.
Hooters girl.
Like somebody asked me that. What are you wearing to concert tomorrow night? I'm like, I don't know.
Probably
I'll know
this.
when I get out of the shower 5 minutes before I leave.
Okay,
I'll reach into my dresser drawer. I'll pick out a shirt and a pair of shorts, and I'll go.
Now there's no chance of rain, right?
No.
Okay, that's perfect then. But the humidity would dictate to me too how I would dress. Like
I don't put that much thought into it.
Because if I'm gonna be sweating to death. You like sweating. I hate sweating.
Yeah, I will give you the color of the shirt's important if you're going to sweat. You can't go gray.
I might bring an extra shirt.
You
I
can't
thought
go-
of that because
oh,
we're
wow.
going to tailgate
Okay.
for a while. We got, we're meeting up with friends and stuff, and all my kids are going.
We're gonna
which is
hear
awesome.
about this later.
Yeah, but I might bring an extra shirt because after you're done
That's a
tailgate,
great
you
idea.
might put in a freshie.
If
yeah.
you run into Bruce and you wanted to invite you back to his dressing room for a little meet and greet, you don't want to have a sweaty shirt.
No, you'd be stinky
Might
then
not
at
pick you
that
out of
point.
the crowd.
All right, well, the team with the best record in baseball looks at things completely different than Topper. I can't wait to hear Connor's defense of this coming up. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. If you want free diamonds, Steven Singer's giving away free diamonds. I actually think Steven Singer may be losing it. I'm going to be very, very honest with you. But he asked me to tell you this message. Whether you buy when you buy a real diamond engagement ring from him with real, natural, earthborn diamonds, the kinds that Steven Singer is famous for, you buy a ring for $500, $1,500, or $15,000. Steven is giving away a free one.
popping, baby.
John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. You know you can take it with you all summer long. The beach, the boardwalk, the boat, or the lake. Bet on sports, play your favorite casino games for real money in the palm of your hand. It's the Bet Park Sportsbook app. You got to be 21 in Pennsylvania, Jersey, or Ohio. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. I am not sensing a under game tonight, Connor.
Oh,
Yesterday,
okay.
I was telling people on the Bet Parks reads that I was betting the under, and I'm glad that I did, and I'm glad I didn't get scared away from it. But I will bet the over Nola strikeouts. After watching Toronto's approach at the plate, they're a little hit or
free
miss, too.
swinging.
They're free swinging. I think it plays to Nola tonight. I think this gives Nola an opportunity, and Bob, that's great because Aaron Nola has a chance to make us believers before the postseason comes around. He's got around 6 more starts after this to be able to make us believers. No.
Look, Toronto's a really good hitting team. And
They are.
Free swinging. Okay, you know you're going to get a ball over the plate with Aaron Nola. I would take the overs on Nola also on home runs given up.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
I think.
I don't like him
think
even saying that.
Well, it's at 1.5. Are you taking the over?
I think I'd lean to the over. I don't like that, Bob.
I'm not being negative.
No,
He
no,
could
no,
give
no,
up
no,
two
no, but
solo
it's-
shots and
no.
have a good outing, and you know.
You're talking about a wager. You're trying to win.
Yeah, Toronto is you are right. They are a free swinging team, but they're a good hitting
Yeah, they
team,
are.
and they can rake a little bit. And when you know the ball's always going to be over the plate, which is what Nola does, you can set that back foot and be ready to go. I think there's going to be a couple bombers tonight by Toronto.
I had a gentleman challenging me to say, he goes, you have to realize Topper is innovative. So I'm going to read from him. He says to me here, he goes, you have to understand, you are not getting that Topper is innovative. His approach, it works. It was proven last year. Now, to me, I don't think 1 year proves anything. I think sustained success does, but I get you. It absolutely proved. And I told him so. He goes, these nights off are important and they'll all pay off later this year. So then I'm reading a piece in the New York Post yesterday, and they're talking about what do the Yankees and the Mets have to do to start doing things differently and learn best practices in sports. Learn the best practices. The Braves have the best record in baseball. They are considered the best team. They are rampaging. They're amazing. But the Braves don't believe in load management at all. And this is New York talking about the Yankees and the Mets believing in load management. This is an amazing stat that I didn't know. So Acuna, Albies, Riley, and Matt Olson. Your 1 through 4 hitters. When they played against the Mets on Sunday night, it was their 117th game. And it was their 117th game for every one of those players. Every freaking game. And they bat 1 through 4. And they played in that order that they played in Sunday night in the batting order 89 times. So there was a time in baseball where consistency mattered. Setting a lineup. Charlie Manuel was a big guy about pencil them in, set the lineup, get guys comfortable. I'm finding it hard to believe, Bob, that Topper is a guy who never got an opportunity to manage, who has done a nice job, is this innovative guy, though, that is reinventing the game and that this is what they should be doing when I am a big believer in best practices. What are best practices?
Look at those 1 through 4 hitters for the Braves. They're some of the best hitters in baseball. Are you going to tell me you don't want to give Kyle Schwarber a night off sometime? Are you going to tell me you had to give Bryce Harper some time off? Are you going to tell me you don't want to give Trey Turner off sometime? Castellanos off? When you're going great and you're 31 to 35 games over 500 and you are the best raking team in all of baseball, hell yeah, I'm throwing that lineup out there every night. No question.
Now I'd be more likely to go the opposite way, to say, all right, we're up by so much. The division race was over by late May.
And they might start doing that now, but for now, for so far of this season, when Snitker has a lineup like that, are you kidding me? And Charlie Manuel had the guys that he had in that lineup. You can't wait to get to the ballpark and put the same names down.
But Bohm, Stott, need nights off?
Yeah,
Bohm and Stott, we got to sit and do this? He's overthinking the situation, Connor, and I know as the host of the Locked On Phillies podcast, which I subscribe to. I hate watching it after losses, though, but last night you were very good.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're good after a loss.
I'll take all right.
I don't like watching it after losses. Do you find lower numbers, by the way? after losses?
It depends on the loss. It depends on how exciting
Like last
the game
night
is.
wasn't a bad loss.
Yeah,
so I didn't.
That was a little bit lower. If they lose and like the umpire makes a terrible call, if someone makes a terrible play, if Rob Thompson makes a bad decision,
If they hit somebody with the bases loaded in the bottom of the eighth inning.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't blame anybody. Like that was Sir Anthony.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, but back to this current conversation, right? I'm not going to fight you on whether or not you're right. I just think this is kind of a chicken or the egg situation, and it's impossible to know. So I was looking at some of the numbers for these guys. And like Matt Olson, for an example, his first year in Atlanta in 2022, he played all 162 games.
Yes.
But the year before in Oakland, he played 156. And the year before that, in the pandemic shortened season, he played all 60.
Yeah.
He's always been a guy, even before he got to Atlanta, that plays a lot of games.
And most players, I would tell you, ask Stott and Bohm. Ask how many they want to play.
Right.
I promise you they don't say, yeah, I want a night off every week. I promise you that.
We had this conversation. Sometimes the manager feels the need to protect players from themselves. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that you're looking at these four guys for the Braves and you're saying, why don't the Phillies handle their players like the Braves players? It could be as simple as the Braves evaluate talent better, and they have four guys that are just some of the best players in baseball that you can do this with. It doesn't mean that Rob Thompson is right to do what he does. Maybe he should play these guys more. But I hesitate to say playing guys like Olson, Acuna, Riley, Albies is the right thing to do just because it works for Atlanta.
And I'm not saying you have to play them once. Like, I can't believe 117. My jaw dropped. I'm like, wait a minute. And I know that that's Brian Snitker's MO. That is his MO. He's an old school. He's more like Charlie Manuel. And that's how he believes the game should be done. But for guys like Stott and Bohm and them, they don't need nights off. They do not need, like, if you want to give them, if you want to let them play 160, you want to let them play 155, 156. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
But just like all this nights off, all this, he's overthinking things.
Well, in last year's season, 2022, Olson played all 162. Acuna was hurt, but he ended up playing 119. Austin Riley played 159, so he only missed 3 games. They lost to the Phillies in the postseason.
They did. Yeah, and that was a unicorn season. When the 7th seed wins it all, that's a unicorn. 6th seed, I guess. That's a unicorn season. That's not what usually happens in the baseball playoffs at all.
In the last few weeks of the season, all the guys you mentioned for the Braves all of a sudden start slumping and whatever. Then it's going to go back to, see, why did he play him so much?
I think it was more. I think it was more that, and it's one thing that I do worry about a little bit with the Phillies, is that they can't win the division if it comes right now. It doesn't look logical. And I think they're going to be the top wild card.
Right.
And I think they're going to have that locked up by Labor Day. I'm worried about them slipping into what the Braves did last year, Bob, where they're not playing for anything, and then you lose your edge. The Phillies had to scratch and claw and fight till game 160 last year. I worry about that. I worry about a listless September where, if they go 500, they're going to be the number 1 seed. And that's what I really think they're going to be looking at. Go 500 in the month of September. They'll be comfortable enough to do that.
I don't think anybody's dumb enough to sit back on their laurels in the Phillies organization and say, well, we're the top wild card, so we can coast on in. I don't see that. They know what it takes to get to the World Series. There's not many guys on this team that don't remember what it took last year and how hard of a struggle it is to get to a World Series. So they have that in their back pocket. I don't think resting on laurels of a top wild card, even if you clinch it, a week or so in advance, I don't think you'll lose that playoff edge. I don't. That's where I think experience comes into play.
Connor, as the Phillies host here, would you want Charlie Manuel's approach with this roster, or would you want Topper's?
I got to be honest. I hate to take the cop-out answer, but I think it's really on an individual player basis. And I don't know these guys like Topper does.
That's not a cop-out.
Yeah, but it's just I'm going to sit on the fence here.
Well,
and it might not be comfortable, but this is where I'm choosing to rest myself right now.
It's not a picket fence you're sitting on.
No, let's hope it's like a wide brick fence, like a Humpty Dumpty type, and I don't fall off it.
That's a wall.
I just
didn't sit in a fence.
Close enough. I just think it's a very individual basis. Like some players are not built, even if they're young, and we look at Bryson Stott and Alec Bohm as like guys who, they should be playing every day. Maybe, and the manager knows best, I guess. Maybe the organization's like, well, behind the scenes, this guy's bothered by this and this guy's bothered by that, and we want him healthy, and it's little ailing things, and we want to get him time. I just know that last year it worked. And until we see it not pay off in the postseason, because that's what rest is for, right? To be ready at the end of the year. Until we see this team not work in the postseason under Rob Thompson, then I don't know if I'm ready to flip away from the way he strategized.
Okay, and I think Bohm might have a nagging something, right? Like he's
he did.
pulled up
He was
limb.
off
He's got
for-
heel. Was it a heel, Connor? Or
He had something lower body.
And in Stott, which I don't agree with an awful lot. When I see out of the lineup, it does drive me crazy. I don't know. I don't know if Rob Thompson has a background with the Yankees, like he saw an up and coming, I don't know, Jorge Posada or somebody, that came up that was young in their second year and they were overplayed, and it might have cost them the next year also. Stott's still young.
And that could be, that could be
it could be a cautious approach that's looking at the big picture more than we want to do right now.
And we're affected by that. It's the idea, though, is that's the Yankee way, this whole story. It's the Yankee way, and that's what Rob Thompson knows. And the Yankee way hasn't been successful since 2009?
On a team basis, but on an individual basis, they've had some darn good players still.
So have the Phillies.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but it's about the team. It's about the laundry. It's about the franchise winning.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, maybe there's more guys on this Phillies team that it works for than it doesn't. I just think it's too early to tell, because I think the result of the rest is not seen until the end of the year when you're playing for a lot. Like, they're not resting these guys so that they have a good September. They're resting these guys so that when they get to October, they have the best shot to make a playoff push. And last year it worked.
Okay, I'm going to ask you but last year you had a guy injured in Zach Wheeler. What about when you have a veteran pitcher who doesn't want this extra rest and has made it known? He wants the ball every fourth day. He doesn't like the extra rest. And he's not pitching again till next Monday.
Like I said, I don't give a rat's ass what you want. That's why I'm the manager. I'm the coach.
Okay.
You just rested for 7 days and you came out and threw a 4-hitter through 7 innings? Okay. I don't care what you want. You might want to shoot jump shots. You're not a good jump shooter. I don't care. You're going to go set picks and you're going to play defense. That's my job. Like, that's my job, is to get the best out of you. And if I think, right or wrong, and you're hoping he's right, if I think I get the best out of you late in the season by you getting a day or two extra rest, yeah, that's what I'm doing. And, it's up to you to pitch as well as you can. Great. That's fine. You want the ball every 5th day. It's better for me to give it to you every 6th day, because when we get to the playoffs, you're going to be better.
We'll see if Nola's better with extra rest tonight as the Phillies take on Toronto. The gas man's on the mound. Gausman's having a great year, but come on. Nola's supposed to – he can outdo Gausman in this situation.
Hopefully.
Let's hope.
We'll see.
Let's hope it works that way.
Nothing's guaranteed with Aaron Nola.
In Cooney's Corner, he believes a story out of training camp is starting to take shape.
Now, let's see what's in Cooney's Corner.
So we're at that time now, right? And we talked about it with Zach Berman before training camp even started. It'll take a week, 10 days, up to 2 weeks after these individual practices against Cleveland to kind of get a feel for what the story is coming out of camp. All right, we're there. Yes. Are we getting the story? Are we having a bigger feeling? Is it just coasting along because this is such a good team and, okay, they've had ups, they've had downs, everybody goes through that. I'm wondering, what's the big story that you're liking now? Is there not a story that has really stuck out to you? Is it just going along ho-hum?
I think youth being served is my favorite storyline. That hearing about young players that I honestly have not put eyeballs on, that I don't really have an understanding of, that to me is the greatest thing, because I love hearing about the next level guys who are going to be potential starters or potential stars down the line. I love hearing about their development. I love hearing about the challenges. And I got to tell you, I'm a big fan of these controlled scrimmages and one-on-one workouts versus other teams. And I would take this absolutely over any team. And I bet you if they held it at the Link, they could get 60,000 people for it. If they if they had Cleveland versus Philly in these controlled scrimmages and they told the people, all right, we're going to do red zone now. There's Dave Spadaro knows what it is. And he says, look, we're going to do red zone now. This is it. Cleveland's called this here. I think it would be far more popular than any preseason game and have more people in the seats.
I agree with that. What's your big story? Anything maybe nothing, Connor, coming out of this training camp so far.
I got to tell you, the guy who normally sits in this seat, and Pat Egan, who just sits here and crosses his fingers and hopes for no injuries, that's kind of where I've been at too. I've seen everything I need to see from the players that are going to be impact players on this team. Anything you get from the young players is bonus. I get you lost Javon Hargrave. You got to fill that somehow. I get that the linebacker core and the safety position a little bit weak, but I know what the offense is. I know what this team was last year, and I know what the NFC is not. So as long as you get through the preseason healthy, I'm good with no storylines. No news is good news.
Yeah. So I kind of put on my reporter hat when I was asking you guys about this, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going into a preseason. I'm going into training camp for a team that's expected to win the NFC, to go to the Super Bowl again. We know what all the high expectations are. I'm not being negative when I say this, but with that being the overriding story, you have to look at something that might not make that the main story. So you go in and you look for stuff, in my book, for stuff that might hold you back. Uh-oh, how's this playing out? How's that playing out? These are the question marks. How are they being answered? My overriding feeling right now is, damn, this is pretty cool. Your young defensive lineman, especially Jalen Carter, is sticking out. You have two guys in Blankenship and now Sidney Brown that are really sticking out at the safety position, which is a big concern. Your veterans that you expect to be good, they're just doing good things and being them. But you're having people step up in the positions that were question marks. I think that's kind of my overriding story right now, even though I'm looking for, okay, what can bring this team more to reality than the heightened expectations that we have. And I just don't think it's there right now. And that's a great thing for Eagles fans.
Yeah, the only thing is the story that you brought up a couple times, and it's absolutely fair, and it's absolutely true, is I wanted more positivity stories out of Jordan Davis.
Not getting it yet.
And I am a believer in Jordan Davis, so I feel like I just wanted more, and I haven't gotten it yet. So that's would be the negative that I'm feeling right now is Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis can't be just a run stuffer. And he was an excellent run stuffer. By the way, he was their best guy on the defense last year in games he played versus the run. He was the most effective defender they had. But he can't just be a run stuffer because it's too much of a like not for the 16th, whatever it is in the draft. He cannot just 13th or whatever it was. He can't just be a run stuffer.
Yeah, my kind of hope after reading stories early, after OTAs and all that stuff was Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, big fatties in the middle. Let's go. Go get them. And that now the outside guys can really eat. And yeah, that lends to those guys being on the field a lot. Then, of course, you have the Fletcher Cox and the Milton Williams and other guys that can step in and do the rotation thing. But I wanted those two fatties to be out there more than anybody together. And I don't know if it's going to happen.
Connor, you chuckle?
Yeah.
That's what their offensive line coach and Kirby Smart call them to, the big fatties.
No, I get it.
I say that respectfully.
With
God,
respect, but they call them that. They're like, look, these are the big fatties. These guys are gigantic.
They don't have an ounce of fat on them. I mean it in a good way.
Yeah.
Like, I need those beef up front.
I get how you mean it, respectfully or disrespectfully. I'm not calling them fatties, but I was just thinking about John's point with the Jordan Davis can't just be a run stuffer. I don't know that I agree with that. I want him to be more, but I think this team is just fine even if he's just that.
It's just a target. It's just a tell. It's a tell that a good play caller can exploit.
Yeah, but they're just so talented everywhere else. Like, they really have so many other options to pressure the pocket and stop the ball and everything. Would it be underwhelming for where he was selected for him to just be a run stopper?
Yes, it would be absolutely. Yeah.
We totally agree there. I just think the Eagles have been so good drafting and adding players lately, they can afford for one of them to be underwhelming.
I don't want anybody
I'm going to be
underwhelmed.
real.
I agree. Yeah. I'm not rooting for
whatever
it.
he was. I don't even know. I can't remember the number, whether he was 13th, 15th, whatever
he was 13th.
That you can't just be a run stuffer if you're 13.
Listen, I'm with you. I'm just saying that I don't think that would be a fatal flaw of the team. I think it would be annoying, but I think they will 100% get away with it if he's a guy who could eat up runs in the middle because they had 70-some sacks last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't have him be like a decoy.
No, I can't.
Like, okay, we're throwing him out there to stop the run, but we know the other team's going to pass because they see him coming in. Like, he just needs to be out there. And, early on, I know they're not going to play him in preseason, but I would have him out there on passing downs in practice, in training camp against other teams, just to, get him accustomed to, all right, something different.
Would you bet Little League World Series?
Oh, I had this conversation.
Did you hear
the
this
other
yesterday? Cuz Radio had it yesterday afternoon. Would you bet Little League World Series?
Absolutely.
So would I.
Yeah.
So would I. Give me Delco pride.
I bet on horses, and little leaguers are smarter than them. So
That's not bad.
yeah, I would bet. on
Bob,
the Little
are
League
you
World
against
Series.
this?
I wouldn't do it. I'm not going to bet on kids, on 12-year-olds. No, I'm sorry. I'm not going to do that.
You're not doing it.
Well, doesn't that feed to the exploitation that you're against? Like, you don't
No,
like
nobody
Little
knows
League
who I
being
bet on. Nobody knows who I bet
I
on.
know,
Doesn't
but-
affect anybody.
Yeah, but like I'm not saying I disagree with you on some of this. Like, you don't like them showing the kids and the kids
And the
having
kid cried the other
reaction
night. Kid
and all
lost
that
and
stuff.
cried.
Yeah.
Did he cover?
Yeah. So you're
all I
kind of
care
going
about.
against that if you're betting on them,
no,
aren't
because
you?
nobody knows what I bet on. Nobody knows who you bet on.
You
got
don't,
your
you
little-
don't want these
you got
kids to
your
be
app.
on TV because you feel bad for them, but here you are throwing
No, I'll
hard-earned
throw some
money down on
I'll
them.
throw some hard-earned money on it.
Okay,
I
you're-
absolutely
you're-
will bet on.
you're a damn hypocrite,
I will
Kincade.
bet on media. Absolutely bet on media.
Yeah, I don't think John's wrong here because the TV thing, it affects the kids, right? They know
Yeah.
they're on television.
And
It's
they
just
cry.
like-
Now
Every game, they
now
freaking
they're gonna
cry.
cry because Uncle Benny just lost $5,000
Well, Uncle
because
Benny-
I gave up a 2-run homer in the sixth.
I'm
Dad.
talking about me. I don't know these
Dad,
kids.
Mr. Donaghy's in the parking lot. He wants to talk to me.
But seriously, I mean,
honestly.
you talk about the pressure. You talk about the pressure they have on being on TV and that you don't like it. And I understand that. I do. I love to watch it, but I understand what you're talking about. But now they're going to have in their heads that people are betting money on me?
They won't care about that. Kids aren't even thinking about that.
Well, then kids aren't thinking about a TV camera in their face.
No, they're thinking about it because they cry
they're
every
also-
time. They got a camera in their face and they start crying.
Okay,
And
they're
because
out on the
being
mound and they got
exploited.
some boonhead out in the left field going, "Yo, 12, I need a homer. I got $5,000 on you."
Well, they're not betting
Like-
same game parlays.
Little
You
Timmy's
don't
going to
know.
get kneecapped after the game. In
I think this
Williamsport.
is hypocritical of both of you. I
don't-
do.
Nobody knows who I place a wager on. I could go
The
to my
kids
phone
know
right
that
now.
there's wagers placed on them. They don't have to know your individual wager.
I don't think 12-year-olds do. I don't think 12-year-olds
Oh,
know anything
yeah.
about betting apps.
Did you know about betting when you were 12?
Yeah,
You
I did because I was
your
raised in a
uncle-
family that was.
These kids are raised with legal betting, John. Like I'm being
That's
a
true.
little bit serious here. Like they are in a society that we are not accustomed to in that they know legal betting. They know that their older brothers and stuff are on apps and doing all this, and their older brother goes to them, "Yo, Jimmy, you guys are favored by you're minus 125 tonight. Gulp. I'm pitching. Gulp. I'm betting 100 on you. Gulp." Like that's as big as
Well,
having
that's
a TV
bad if your
camera in your
family's
face.
saying that to
Well,
you.
you can't say that they're not.
By the way, the media team, second best odds to win the Little League World Series.
I'll bet the hell out of them. Let's go.
And
You're an
you
ass.
see it the other day. Gave up the game-winning home run, the 2-run bomb that sends media to the Little League World Series in Cooperstown. The town in Pennsylvania,
Williamsport.
where the Phillies will play on Sunday.
Yeah.
They make that, and the kid on script, the kid who gives up the home run. You have an adult with a camera running to watch him. He collapses on the ground and he's crying because
good television.
the
Yeah.
kid can't hide.
That doesn't bother me at all.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
Builds character.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
That kid's crying, and he's like, get the freaking cameras out of their faces.
Yeah, so when he has a tough day at work in 20 years, when he's working in
yeah.
insurance, he's like, well, there's not a camera here. I can make it through this.
When he's a
because I had-
meme for 20 years, you mean? When he's a meme of the crying fan, which
No, it
always is a
happens
meme.
so
Johnny,
often
it's
now, it
2023.
doesn't
We're all
matter.
going to be memes. There's memes of
There
us
you
out
go.
there, too. We'll live.
Some of your shorts memes are out there. All right, coming up, excuse Bob and the local sports media. Today's not going to be a great day for their coverage. We'll explain why. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. The heat, the humidity, the scorching, sweaty temperatures. You know they're coming back for one last kick of summer. But you know what that
Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Hey, book your fantasy football draft party at PJ Wellahan's. Visit pjspub.com for details. And if you're hosting at home, score big with PJ's party packages available for order online. We're going to have to excuse it because today I don't think we're going to get the best out of John Clark today. I really don't. And John Clark is absolutely amazing. Local sports caster and tracks down stories as good as anybody. He's all over this Harden story now too. And I mean, I think Bob's been great first 2 hours, Connor, but the second 2 hours, it may start to feel like it's Springsteen Day. And every writer for the Inquirer and the Daily News may be a little off today. Maybe there'll be maybe some spelling errors, things like that. But, Bob, I admire your professionalism battling through the first 2 hours on the day that Bruce is in town. Take us behind the curtain a little bit because it is you've done, how many times have you seen him?
I don't know. My wife and I were trying. I saw him a couple of times before Donna and I got together, and then we've seen him together. I guess we're approaching close to 20.
Biggest fan is Donna as big a fan as you are?
Yeah, but it's cool. She is, and we both are. And look, I know he's not for some people, and I understand that. You might like music that I don't really care for, but I don't care about that. I never ever say when somebody says, "Oh, I like it." Ew, you do? Like, I don't care.
No, there's all kinds of different music out there.
Yeah, it's something that we found fun that we do together, and we go. It's our thing. Like we go to Bruce concerts together, and we have a blast. And so the day entails. You know, back in the day, it was getting babysitters for the kids. It was the two of us. We'd meet up with friends. We'd have a fun tailgate. Sometimes we were sitting with friends, other times not, but whatever. And it's just 3 hours of fun for us. And
but tonight's
cool.
A little more special.
And then tonight's cool because, you know, a few years back in 2016, our son Bobby was able to go to concerts by himself. They went to like Hershey or something like that, and he loved it. And now we're having 3 of our 4 kids go with us tonight. So, and we're going with our friend Dawn, and her 4 kids are coming
awesome.
Also. So it's us taking our kids. And look, I know it's probably getting close to the last. I've said probably 4 or 5 times it's the last time we'll probably see them. But it's just something we like to do, and it's fun that we like to have.
I don't know any of my friends who are big Bruce supporters, and I have a brother who is one, who feels disappointed by any time they've seen him recently. And Doc saw him last time in State College. With his buddies. He went up to State College, I believe, and saw him.
Oh, yeah?
Last time, and loved it. Like, they loved it.
Yeah.
They thought it was great. So, he's not disappointing anybody. If this is the last time around, you get a chance to see him. I don't hear anybody going, man, he's really missed a step. Well, he's really lost a step.
Yeah, if it's your first show and you're reading about the concerts that he used to do of 3.5 hours of running all over the place and sliding on his knees and all that stuff, yeah, you're going to be disappointed because he's 73 years old and he ain't doing that anymore. But he is standing and putting together a 3 to 3.5 hour show nonstop. Like there's no breaks. He goes into one song to the next. And
he's playing the hits too, from what I'm seeing.
Yeah. So it's, it's a fun thing that we like to do. And yeah, I mean, that's the music that I grew up on and that's, just what I like.
Is there any musical act? Because Connor, I don't think there is one though that I would ever want to see that many times.
Probably not. I'm not a huge concert guy to begin with.
I'm not either, and it's just...
And I'll tell you, either am I.
Too noisy is my big thing is I hate the volume. It's like for whatever reason, whatever reason it affects me. It doesn't affect me, and my wife will say, but it doesn't affect you at a sporting event. I say because the sporting event, the volume goes up, the volume goes down. The volume goes up, it goes down. At a concert, you're getting blasted constantly, and it always has bothered me. Loud noise like that's always bothered me.
Bob, you going to get blasted tonight?
Well, he's going to get maybe pregame.
No.
Now, so tonight, 3 of your kids with you. That's an awesome event.
Yeah, so our oldest, Bobby, and his girlfriend are coming down via subway or however they're getting there. So they're going to meet us in the parking lot. Our son Kyle's flying in from Charlotte this afternoon, so I'm going to pick him up, run back home, and then we're going to run back over and tailgate for a while. And our daughter Jenna's going with us too. So, yeah, that's That's a cool thing. Like just taking it to a new, when we used to see him back when we first got married in the 90s and all, he was without the E Street Band. And then he was back with the E Street Band. Then it was a reunion tour. And all of those, it was still the vibrant, all that stuff. The last time I went to see him, I was like, I'm not really expecting a whole lot because of his age, all of that. Hasn't performed in a few years. And I went in with low expectations and came away like, God, it was still great. And so, yeah.
It's going to be fun tonight. I hope you have a good night.
We'll have a good night. And we're
that's
going
a
again on
special
Friday,
moment.
too.
That's a special moment. Now, are you guys you're only going as a group, though, tonight? With your kids tonight?
Tonight with the kids.
And then Friday with friends.
Dawn and her friends. And then Friday night, it's like, oh, my God, it keeps growing and growing. I think we're up to about 10 couples.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
See, that's fantastic.
Now, I got a question for you guys. One, Pat Egan, obviously off the past couple days. He's parts unknown whenever he's not at the station.
He's all over Twitter, though.
Is there a chance that he will be in attendance at the Bruce Springsteen concert tonight?
None.
There's more of a chance him coming in here tomorrow at 6 feet tall.
I'm betting on 0.00 that he's attending a Bruce concert.
Okay, just want to throw it out there.
Now, Pat likes obscure bands, and that's one of the things too with music. I'm not sort of like with soccer. I'm not well versed enough in music that I will yuck someone else's. Whatever their music is, whatever your music is, I know. Not if I don't know enough about it. Not if I haven't sampled it. If someone tells me even a what do you call it? Gosh, I'm sorry. With
country.
Like a type of music. See, I like country music, but I like certain country music, and I hate other country music.
Yeah, I got you.
There's some that I like.
Yeah, Pat likes the music that's like the bands are all named after violent acts.
Yes.
Like Thrasher and Beater and stuff like that.
Biter.
Yeah. Not really my thing.
All right, before we get to the top of the hour, Charlotte's doing it. Vegas is going to do it after September. It is being done in Phoenix, Arizona is going to try it. Driverless taxis. Would you get into a driverless taxi?
No.
I would not.
Hell no.
Okay, it's okay. So we're all in agreement on this. I can't believe this. Like that they're doing this. Like driverless cars are going to actually be on the road, and I can't believe it. That this is going to be. They're going to be out in major. They can be on highways. They're going to be tested in areas, in limited areas, but they can get out onto highways, but not interstates. They're not putting them on interstates yet. If they're not putting them on interstates, that tells me they don't trust them.
If you're in the back row, say you're in the city and you're driving down, Market Street, and a car pulls in front of you and cuts you off a little bit, and then you do the normal thing where you get to the left of them and you catch up so you can yell at them, and you look and there's nobody there. Do you still yell at the empty car?
I ram it.
I am not feeling. Like, I am not getting in a driverless taxi.
Dude, the amount of computer power it would take to build a car that could drive driverless on 76 is more than it took to put a man on the moon. Like, have you seen the way people drive around here?
This morning was terrible.
This morning was bad coming in.
Oh, man. And you both just missed an accident.
Yeah, there was an accident right where we come through,
really?
Connor.
I'm not surprised.
10 minutes after.
It was terrible.
The one thing I did when I was on the road, John and Connor, when and I took a lot of taxis. I made sure they were awake. I studied them. Like I was very much. If I got in a taxi at 4 a.m. to get to the airport for a 6 o'clock flight, you're like, hey buddy, how are you? You just finishing or just starting? Where you at?
Engage them.
Keep them engaged. Make sure they're awake, because I had more than a couple that would be dozing on me or that would be going super fast.
Well, we had that
in the middle
in Phoenix.
of a snowstorm. Yeah, trusting no one? No, thanks. I'm not good with that.
I'm not doing double chemo to get into a driverless taxi anytime soon. So 8 o'clock hour of the John Kincade Show, and we appreciate you being here. But the Phillies played in Toronto last night, and I love the fact that Zach Wheeler returned to form. That was like vintage Zach Wheeler. That was as good as if that's a Zach Wheeler that you are hoping to see. And again, so I get asked by Mike, well, how many of these do you need to see by Wheeler for you to believe it? Because he's gotten trashed in more starts this year than we've seen in his Phillies career. Okay, there's 41 games left in the season. So if they go with this ridiculous 6-man rotation the rest of the way, he's going to get, I'm believing if I do the math, he's going to get 6 or 7 starts because I think they'll clinch. If he gets 6 starts, if I see 4 more efforts like that, I'm feeling good out of Zach Wheeler.
Yeah.
I'm feeling really good. 4 more efforts like that, sign me up. Game 1 starter, Zach Wheeler.
I'm with you. I got no issue with that at all. It's hard to disagree. What he was last night was a very, very good version of Zach Wheeler, and he gave them a great chance to win that game, even though the offense didn't do anything. So, yeah.
Do you believe that Michael Lorenzen, who we forget, by the way, because he's been sat so long, do you believe that Michael Lorenzen actually has an opening to be the number 2 starter on this club in the postseason? Do you believe Thompson? So you do believe he's open-minded to it?
Yeah, you can. I mean, you know, as much as we want to say Thompson's set in his ways and all that, you watch a guy go out there and dominate the way Lorenzen has, and not just with the Phillies, but how he has this year after the All-Star break, all of that. Yeah, you'd be a stone-cold idiot if you don't think that he's going to be either your number 1 or number 2 starter.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be number 1. I do think if Wheeler shows out, like 4 of the 6 starts, shows out that he's been doing, like that kind of effort, he's got to be game 1.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there, but Bob's right. And I don't call for people's jobs, but Rob Thompson should be fired if he's not considering Michael Lorenzen for a playoff, first 2 starts.
If he outpitches him the rest of the way, Lorenzen, he's already, his first 2 starts, he's outpitched Aaron Nola's season.
John, he's outpitched everybody in baseball over his last 2 starts.
No, what I'm saying is that so if he does it 4 of the last 6 starts, he's dominant like that.
Yeah. Now, consideration doesn't mean they'll do it. But if you asked Rob Thompson today, is he in consideration? If he said no, pack your things, buddy, because he's just thrown 8 innings of really good baseball and a no-hitter. So, yeah, he's in consideration.
I can't wait to see him pitch again. He'll open up the series against the Nats on Friday night. And then the Phillies, by the way, are set up for the Giants series, which I think is could be a playoff preview. You might play the Giants. You never know. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, you've got it set up. Wheeler, Nola, Lorenzen.
There it is.
Beautiful
and I think if Rob Thompson right now, gun to his head, had to make a decision and say, if you're playing the Giants in the postseason, 3-game series at Citizens Bank Park, who are your 3 pitchers? He would say Wheeler, Nola, Lorenzen. I believe that would be his answer.
Probably.
I don't think he'd say Suarez. I don't think he'd say Sanchez. Suarez hasn't earned it. Sanchez hasn't earned it.
Walker's been pretty good win-loss.
He has been, but they're sitting him. They skipped him. They're obviously wondering whether.
This is a good problem to have, though, right? As long as Nola gets his head out of his you-know-what, Wheeler looks like he's coming out of it. This is a really good problem for the team to have.
Yeah, and think about it.
It's not it's a good problem, yeah.
The thing that you don't like, John, about this 6-man rotation and getting too much rest and all. So, all right, look at it this way. If Wheeler does have what you just said, 4 out of his 6 starts are really good. Now you have the best of both worlds. He's pitching well, and he's rested.
Oh, that'd be great.
You know, I mean, that's what you're hoping.
I'm
These
listening
guys
to
pitching
him,
well, and they're rested. I'm not.
I mean, like, Nick Sirianni, what did he get praised for? Because the veterans came in and said, look, this is what training camp should be. This is what off-season workouts should be. We don't need it as much. Listen to us. Let's talk about it. Let's decide. Sirianni came in and listened to his veterans. I believe Zach Wheeler's the same way. If Zach Wheeler, and by the way now, he said it multiple times, he wants the ball every 4th day, every 5th day.
All right, so Sirianni
he does not like what they're doing.
Sirianni listened to his players and lost in the championship. Thompson didn't and lost in the championship.
No, but I mean, this is different. I mean, he's shutting down. He's resting. But he's resting. He's resting Wheeler when Wheeler is not says he doesn't need or asking for the rest.
Good. He looked really good after you sat him for a month last year. I mean,
that was an injury situation.
Okay, but they also sat him a lot longer than we all know
they sat him a
lot longer than he needed to because they wanted to rest him up and have him ready for the playoffs. I think that's what Thompson's going back on. Look, these guys got fatigued last year. Look, they weren't very good at the beginning of this year because they went all the way to November. Rest is the overriding factor here that I want to give my pitchers in order to be ready for the postseason.
So you think Rob,
if they have these good outings and rest on top of it, I think we're going to be praising Rob Thompson come playoff time more than saying, what was he doing resting them so much?
So you think Rob Thompson in the last game of the year when Zach Wheeler has 5 months to rest is going to be pulling him out this time, or is he going to let him actually pitch?
I hope he lets
so we
him
don't
pitch.
blow a World Series
How
game
about this? I really hope we get to that point.
I'd
because
love
that
to
would
see it.
mean I'd love to give him the chance to make even the wrong call again, because that would be another
No, not to make the wrong call again. Let's
that
make
would
the
be
right
another
call.
magical postseason run. We're still a long way away from getting to that point, and that means they did a lot of stuff right down the stretch.
Here's where if the Phillies with 10 days to go on the calendar, on the baseball calendar, here's where they can't lose. Now, Connor, you won't remember Parker Lewis can't lose. Bob, you will not. You probably never saw Parker Lewis can't lose.
No.
Jennifer Aniston's first television job.
Oh, what
Connor,
up, girl?
It was a knockoff of Ferris Bueller,
Yeah.
but it was Jennifer Aniston pre-nose job. So
I
if you
didn't even know she had one.
Oh, yeah. She had a honker. And so before that, she was on Parker Lewis Can't Lose. So you can go watch Parker Lewis Can't Lose, and you can see her on there. The Phillies can't lose if 10 games to go, they're leading. Because this schedule is Mickey Mouse Club. Last 10 days on the calendar of the baseball season. The Phillies have 4 versus the Mets, 3 versus the Pirates, and 3 at the Mets. You have been given the absolute donut, the empty calories of bad baseball teams to dominate, and 7 of the 10 games are at home where you just get to dominate. The Giants, in the meantime, had 4 at the Dodgers, 3 versus the Padres, and 3 versus the Dodgers. They'll play the Dodgers 7 times, and the Dodgers could still be playing for playoff positioning. And they are the hottest team in baseball right now, by the way. The Dodgers are starting to round into shape.
13 or 14, I think the Dodgers are.
Oh, my
Ooh,
gosh.
sheesh.
9 in a row, 13 or 14, I think you're right.
It's pretty good.
Cubs, the Cubs fighting for a division title, by the way. They're now up for the division title. They got 3 versus the Rockies, then 3 at the Braves, and 3 at the Brewers. That series could come down, and it would be the best thing for Phillies fans. If the Brewers-Cubs series, the last series of the year, was for the division title, and they had to empty the benches to try to win the division, whoever wanders into that wild card series is going to be burnt out. That's our dream scenario right now, and that's one I want to check. Brewers had 3 at the Marlins, who might still be in the postseason race, 3 versus the Cardinals, who they have a nasty rivalry with, and then 3 versus the Cubs. The Phillies have Mickey Mouse Club. They will stroll home. They will stroll. If they win, they go 7 out of 10. They'll stroll home. I'm hoping that last week of the season, 3 versus the Pirates, 3 at the Mets, none of those games mean anything.
I hope so, too. And I hope they're up, and I hope this plays out the way that you're saying. And everything on paper, you're absolutely right, John. They've got a great opportunity late in the season. But
There's a but?
there is a but. How quickly we forget in one of yesterday's segments
What's that?
about how the Phillies don't play well against the Mets, whether they're good or bad. It's a team they struggle with. On paper, they look like they're terrible, but this team has trouble with them. And that does scare me a little bit. Now, the upside is the other teams do have really tough schedules, and the Mets might just be so bad this year it doesn't matter. But that still worries me a little bit.
Yeah, I can understand. They're going to be ahead.
Yeah.
They're going to be ahead.
I don't think it'll matter. That's the thing, right? Your point still stands.
It's like that's a Mickey Mouse schedule.
Yes.
Down the stretch.
Yes, it is.
You got a chance to really, if you're even in a tight race with those teams, it's sitting right there in front of you.
You're
And
absolutely right there.
You better dominate. That's great. I mean, it's wide open there. Now the question is too, how much rest will be too much rest, and how much non-competitive baseball will hurt you as far as playing games against
Can't
teams.
have that now.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Let's
Not
go.
right now.
Balls to the wall. Let's go.
Hey, FanFest is coming. We got some FanFest tickets to give away at 215-263-0975. We'll give away how many pairs of tickets? Oh, Bobby, you saw Bruce. We can't do that. The amount of times you've seen Bruce.
47 pairs.
We can't do that. How about?
Let's see. Springsteen is now 73 years old. So
Okay.
7 and 3 equals 10. How about 10 pairs? Is that too many?
No, I think 10 pairs is great.
All right.
We'll have an online ticket raid today at noon. Also, online, very special guest Nick Foles. Also, Fall Out Boy, which will be great. That's going to be a lot of fun. 10th anniversary of FanFest with FanDuel. Get listening for ticket giveaways and ticket raids. It is going to be a spectacular day. And by the way, as of this morning, now I think it's hard to do weather 9 days out. Maybe not for Adam Joseph and Cecily Tynan. They can get away with that. 81 and sunny.
So no hurricanes this year?
81 and sunny for
Let's
FanFest.
go.
Seriously. All right, coming up, the best of the NFL insiders. Adam Schefter joins us, and maybe he's been hearing ear to the ground all about these Eagles young players and where they're headed. We'll get the word direct from the man himself next on the John Kincade Show.
Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Happy Wednesday morning to you. It's Springsteen Day for Bob. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. You know that Landis Block can help you create your very own jaw-dropping backyard paradise. They did it for us. They can do it for you online at landisbc.com. It has been a lot of positive love for the Philadelphia Eagles youth that has been on display. And we're talking now to Adam Schefter, ESPN NFL insider, as it's hard not to get excited, Adam, when you're hearing such rave reviews. And for the last 2 days, I've only shared the reviews online of whether the idea of that it's the Cleveland writers. I've gone to the Mary Kay Cabots and more and tried them instead. Instead of listening to our own writers, listen to what the Cleveland writers are saying about it, and boy, are they complimentary of the Eagles. Good morning.
Well, John, good morning to you. Nice to be with you. By the way, is Bruce playing in Philadelphia tonight and Bob's going, or is that somewhere else?
That is correct. He is in Citizens Bank Park tonight.
Tonight and Friday.
And Friday. And guess what? I'll be there Friday also.
Wow. Didn't realize that. That's interesting.
Thank you.
That should be fun. That should be a lot of fun. Back to the Eagles for a moment. I would just say, there's no downside right now. Everything's great. Again, I'm always leery of just something that's going to come out of nowhere, whatever that may be. Some sort of unexpected issue, controversy, injury. As long as none of that happens, everything's going to be good, right? You just don't want any of those unnecessary, unneeded distractions. And if the Eagles can avoid them, then they're going to have the chance to have a memorable season. That's all. And you know what? This is the fun part about it, basking in all the positive reviews and all the praise and how good everybody thinks they are. I don't care whether it's the Cleveland writers, the Philadelphia writers, the national writers, or I don't care who it is. They're good. They're good. So enjoy it. Enjoy the ride.
It's awesome.
That's it. Doesn't matter to me who's saying it about them.
Shefty, I think obviously one of the biggest stories of this offseason and now early in this training camp preseason have been the New York Jets and what they've done with Aaron Rodgers and where they're going and all. And now getting Dalvin Cook. I was happy to see it in that, okay, he's out of the NFC. Is this a really, really good signing for them? Because on the surface, I can't see how it's not.
Well, you're going to Bruce tonight, and I'm on my way to the New York Jets right now as we speak.
See that? You're more important than I am, for sure.
Yeah, they are scrimmaging the Buccaneers today, practicing against them the next 2 days, just like the Eagles are practicing against the Browns. So it's the Jets and the Buccaneers headed out there today. I might or might not be accompanying my daughter to do some Nickelodeon interviews for Slime Time this year.
She can give you some good pointers. I've seen her work.
Absolutely, she's going to give me pointers. She's going to show me how it's done today. That's the way it's going to be. But here's the thing with Dalvin Cook. You know where I think it started is the quarterback wanted him, and the quarterback gave back money. And when the quarterback gave back his money, he says, "I like this guy. You want this guy? Sure, we'll get." I think the Jets liked him definitely. I mean, he's a great player. Hard not to like him. You never have enough running backs. But the fact of the matter is, I think the quarterback was in the middle of that, too. And the quarterback's giving back $30+ million, and he says he wants somebody, which he did, and they're going to go out and make their quarterback happy because he's made them very happy.
I'm looking at what the reviews are of Jalen Carter. And Jalen Carter, he is just everybody raving about. He's been a game wrecker.
Yeah,
how much do you put into though these scrimmages, these practices where it's two teams going at each other? I take a little more credibility than what I saw the other night in the his 2 snaps in a preseason game.
Yeah. From Mike Trout was asking me about him yesterday.
Oh, that's always good.
He's enamored with Jalen Carter, and obviously there was that one tweet that was out there about what he did against Joe Bitonio yesterday during practice, throwing him on his back. And Joe Bitonio's been to 4 or 5 Pro Bowls, and Jalen Carter just kind of
went over him
there. Yep. And I go back to draft day, and we've talked about this, but I'll remind you of it. Jalen Carter personally on the phone with Nick Sirianni, Howie Roseman. I even think pleading with the Eagles to take him, promising them that he's going to make them proud and show them that they made the right pick, and him saying all the right things undrafted and literally helping to convince them to draft him with the way the board felt. And so they gave him that lifeline. They gave him that chance. They thought in this environment around all these Georgia players that he had the chance to be the top player with the top talent that he has. And so far, it's worked out great. So far, he has looked like a game wrecker. And so if you take that guy in, if we go back to the beginning of the off-field questions, issues, problems, he was projected as the potential number one overall pick. And the Eagles went on they did that to treat him at number 10. Number 10 is where he went?
Was it? Gosh, I'm trying to think of what number it was at.
I think it was 10 overall.
I think so. It was the 10th, I believe.
Yep. And so, look, he's got a lot to prove to them, but he's begun to do that, and he's off to the kind of start you want, and the ability is not in question. It is not in question.
Shefty, this might be a little Philadelphia egotistical, but the New England Patriots, who open up with the Eagles, sign Ezekiel Elliott. Now, I don't think any NFL team is signing a player for one game or anything like that, but a team like that needs to get off to a good start. We all know about them. Could there have been a hint of that, do you think?
A hint of signing him?
Get off to a good start. He always plays well against the Eagles, knows the Eagles' defense, maybe a familiarity thing. Could there have been a hint of, all right, we want him, A, but B, to get off to a good start, maybe against Philadelphia, he's not a bad guy to get to.
I don't know. Honestly, New England and Philly open up against each other?
Yes.
And on Tom Brady Day in New England, and his numbers against the Eagles, very impressive.
Wow. I didn't realize that was the opener for those teams. That's interesting. It seems a little odd sometimes to get a out-of-conference game like that. Wow, I didn't realize that. That's interesting. No, I don't think that's why they signed him at all. I think they signed him because if we look at it, they missed out on DeAndre Hopkins. There were people there that felt like DeAndre Hopkins could help. They need more offensive help in whatever way it is. They need speed is what they need. And that would not be Zeke's forte and his specialty. But the fact of the matter is he was a running back who's out of the market, who's coming along at a reasonable price of about $3 million with upside. They could get it to $6 million, but it would be their pleasure to have to pay him $6 million because that would mean that he will have produced for them. They really didn't have somebody that they could count on behind Ramondre Stevenson. They're in a brutal division. And you could say, okay, well, Bob, it's for the opener, but I just don't buy that at all. I think it's that they signed him for the season because they think he makes them a better team, and they need help, and they need another offensive weapon, and Zeke was one of the weapons that was out there that they think could help.
When you've watched preseason go on, has any, and you've talked to people around the league, has any teams, your impression of any team or your belief in any team changed positively or negatively based on what you're hearing from guys and ladies whose opinion you trust?
What I would say to that, John, is that I would never get too carried away about anything that happens in the preseason. We're just looking for little snapshots of things that we notice. If you think that you're going to judge a team in its entirety on the basis of a preseason game or a practice, that would be foolish. The Jets dominated the Panthers last week. They look like world beaters. Okay. What does it mean? It means like the Jets look like they have a good pass rush. To me, there are little individual things that just flash, right? Flash.
Yes.
To me, last week, a few things that flashed. I talked about this in my podcast, but Aiden O'Connell, the mid-round pick of the Las Vegas Raiders, he flashed. Like, he looked like this year's version of Brock Purdy to me. Deuce Vaughn, the Cowboys running back, looked like Darren Sproles to me. Now, we'll see if he can do that over time, and if he could do it in a regular season game. But Deuce Vaughn looked to me the way that Darren Sproles used to. Now, Darren Sproles, I believe, was a 4th-round pick, and Deuce Vaughn, I believe, was a 6th-round pick. And I think the expectations were a little higher for Darren Sproles. And Darren Sproles is somebody that produced at a high level for a long time. Deuce Vaughn still has to do that. But he looked like that kind of guy out there, like just this tiny, diminutive guy that nobody could keep up with, who was making linebackers look silly. He flashed to me. You know, this guy, Nathan Rourke, quarterback in Jacksonville. It's funny. He made as good a play as I've seen in a preseason game in years. And for those who haven't seen it, I posted on my Instagram page. It was all over the highlight shows. I think everybody's seen it, where he ducked under like 3 oncoming Dallas Cowboy rushers, eluded them, had a guy hang on his back, still threw, a 40, 50, 60-yard strike downfield for a touchdown. And I'm like, Nathan Rourke, wow, who is that? So I did a little search, and I'm like, oh, Adam Schefter was reporting on Nathan Rourke back in February. 12 teams vying for his services. I'm like, I totally forgot about this. He was the MVP of the Canadian Football League. All these teams wanted him. Now, I still don't understand why he picked Jacksonville. That, to me, is a little unusual, and you got Trevor Lawrence there. But that guy flashed with that one play, and I said to myself, you make a play that good, you can play. So I want to see more of that. The Jets' pass rush, as I mentioned, just ferocious. Those are some of the things that just, for whatever that's worth, popped to me in the first preseason week, and there'll be more things that pop this week.
Chef, if I'm to ask you this question, not as a reporter, it's just the 4 of us here, 3 of us here talking, and
Oh, yeah.
and that's all. Yeah, and you're an NFL fan, and I say, what's the most confident prediction you can make about this season coming up? And then what's maybe the warmest take? I'm not going to say hot take. The warmest take that you'll make concerning this upcoming season.
Oh, well, I'm not a take guy, Bob. Okay,
I'm talking to Shefty.
He's talking to Shefty the fan.
It's me and you sitting in the backyard. That's all.
Well, I got it. Well, let me lean on things that I actually have felt. Right.
Okay.
And I'll just say this to you: that last week, did you guys see Hard Knocks last night?
I did not. I did not see last night's. No.
Okay, so it opens with this guy, Oz the Mentalist, performing for the Jets. Now, the backstory to that is that Oz the Mentalist, he's been doing his things for a long time. My brother-in-law hired him to perform at his Christmas party about 15 years ago for $600. And then my wife saw him, and she had him come to one of my son's parties, and then he came to my 50th birthday party and my daughter's party last year. And a couple of the ESPN people there, they saw him, and they're like, we got to get this guy out on the road. So last year, I arranged for him to go to Baltimore and Tampa and Seattle. I went with him to Seattle. And this year, I went with them everywhere. We went to the Jets last week, and they taped it for Hard Knocks. And then we flew to Dallas last Wednesday, as we know, did the Cowboys, took the Red out of Cincinnati, did the Bengals and the Packers, both of whom were there, and then went to the University of Michigan on Friday for a feature for College Game Day. But when Bob asked me what I know that when I walked into the Cincinnati Bengals team meeting room and spent a couple of hours in there last Thursday morning, I know that the energy and the vibe and the enthusiasm in that room was palpable. Like, there was a vibe to that Bengals team that I felt. I don't know what that means. Maybe it was just that day. But, woo.
You felt it.
A swagger, a confidence, an energy, an excitement, all those things with that Bengals team. So when you ask me things that I would expect, I would be really shocked if the Bengals didn't have a really good year.
Adam Schefter joining us on the Comcast Business Hotline, where every day in business is a big day. Thanks to our friends at Landis Block, landisbc.com. You had a fantasy football draft last night, and a little birdie said you picked an Eagle, A.J. Brown.
I picked all the Eagles.
Look at this. How many other Eagles did you take? A.J. Brown you took. How many other Eagles did you take?
4 Eagles last night. I took A.J. Brown at pick 18. I picked Jalen Hurts at pick 23. I picked Dallas Goedert at pick 63. I picked the Eagles defense later in the draft. I loaded up.
Oh, So you're all on it. You're all eagled up.
There's more positive buzz for you there.
Do we have to get you a Kelly Green?
I'll just say this. I've seen a bunch of Kelly Green stuff mailed out to all sorts of media members, right? I haven't got anything.
Yeah, we don't either. They don't. Yeah. The Eagles don't. Yeah. They don't confer with us.
Yep.
Yeah, yep. We're in their own town, and they don't.
Nor me.
Yeah, it's all right. It's the way it works. Hey, Shefty.
I just pick them for my fantasy football team. That's all.
Listen to your daughter. Take the advice. Yeah. Improve your game. I mean, she's going to help you. She's going to.
We're going to try to improve our game. We're going to see what she can show me today. She's going to give me some tips, and we need her to up my game big time.
Enjoy yourself. And if Aaron Rodgers invites you into the hookah tent or whatever, don't do it. Don't do it. We need you.
Give it a try.
We need you focused.
I haven't seen him, spoken to him, nor has my path crossed with him. Even last Sunday night when I was in the building, since he told me to lose his number. So
he'll be there.
He's avoiding you, Shefty.
He'll be there. He's not going to be a little. He's going to be all right. You're gonna be all right.
He's ducking Shefty.
I don't know. I don't know.
Can't wait.
No idea.
Can't wait to find out. Thanks, Shefty. Have a great day.
Have a great day, guys. Have a great week. We'll talk.
Thanks, Shefty.
There you go. He is Adam Schefter, the NFL's premier insider. He joins us every week on the John Kincade Show.
I always found it hysterical when an athlete would duck you. Like, I just considered it like a game then. Like, even if I didn't want them or need them and they thought I was coming after them and they would, go one way when I came in.
Me?
I would go after him. I really wanted to,
I'd rather have the conversation of, I didn't, I don't like what you said, above the idea of somebody ducking you. Look, and the big key is, Bob, when you did that job and you lived it, and it's the way it works, like when you have to be visible and you have to allow somebody to have the opportunity to get to you.
Sure.
And have that opportunity. Have that conversation. Yeah. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. And by the way, I think I've apologized a couple times and said, yeah, you know what? With a little more information, you're absolutely right. But the guy's ducking you? Come on now.
I mean, there was a player that ran down a hallway.
Ran down a hallway? Come on.
Yeah.
Running from Bob Cooney?
After being traded from here to there, yeah.
Connor, you've done that. You've run.
Yeah.
You've run down the hallway from Bob Cooney because he's
not chasing him.
It's not even me. Like, the guy didn't like me, whatever. But it was just funny. Like, seriously? You can't just have a conversation like we're adults.
You and Jarvis Tornado playing tag in the facility?
Jarvis was my man.
Okay, Andy says, why are you're giving veiled shots there with Shefty? It's not veiled. I've never seen a major media market where the NFL team, and by the way, I'm just going to go with you, Miami, Tampa, Jacksonville, Atlanta, Carolina, Saints, just a few that I can tell you for fact. They do not restrict opposing radio stations that are not their flagships from being on site and broadcasting at training camp. The Eagles do. The Eagles do that. So when I tell you that it's different, it's different. The policy here is different. It is restrictive. It is, to me, that's a negligent policy. And yes, they block us from being there. We'd love to be there, love to be able to broadcast there, and it is not common in the NFL for that to happen. So that is an Eagles policy that goes against the vast majority of NFL teams who enjoy coverage of their teams. For some reason, I guess they don't enjoy it. They don't enjoy it. Free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, AutoZone. I wanted to remove the veil, as I told I was making a veiled comment on that. So I removed the veil for you. Connor, you have a stupid question regarding the Eagles. Now, I'm surprised because you bring some insightful stuff to the table. So what are you bringing stupid?
Well, every once in a while insightful, every once in a while stupid. You got to keep things balanced.
Let's do it.
I imagine that most people are going to immediately write this off, but I need you to give it a second. Think about it. Let it marinate a little bit for you. The big competition in the NFC, we see the 49ers and the Cowboys. And for the Cowboys, you see Dak Prescott, a guy who hasn't really taken that next step like people thought he would, led the league in interceptions. For the 49ers, you see this guy in Brock Purdy. And I think everyone's immediate reaction is, well, they got no quarterback. We don't have to worry about them at all. And yet Shanahan comes out and says that he'd have to melt in practice to not be the starter, and there's no question he's their guy. And I started thinking about Brock Purdy yesterday, And I wonder if we are really underestimating what he could be for that football team.
I will tell you that if Kyle Shanahan tells you he's a really, really good quarterback, I will absolutely believe Kyle Shanahan.
And you don't even have to worry about what he's telling you. That's the added thing that made me think about it. Look at the guy's record. He was really good last year for that team, and I know they have a talented team, but I think we got all caught up in, this guy's not playing through a little bit of hurt in the NFC Championship game. We did not see much of that team with him, and he had an actual injury. Like, when everything all came out, it was, he's got this UCL issue. He needs to take care of that. I wonder, and I'm not trying to feed into the narrative that the 49ers have been spewing all offseason, it'll be different if we have a healthy quarterback. But I wonder how much of the bravado of the Eagles winning that game so comfortably is giving us a blind spot when it comes to how dangerous that team can be.
All right, when he started to play in December, so he started the first game in December.
Mm-hmm.
That's where he really got in there against Miami.
Right.
They won. He went on that winning streak.
Yes.
He passed for 210 yards, 185 yards, 217 yards, 234 yards, 284 yards was the high point, and 178 yards. He was three touchdowns, no interceptions. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. I think it's being overstated how good he was. I think he played on a team that during his winning streak, beat Arizona, total bottom of the league. Las Vegas, towards the bottom of the league. Washington, towards the bottom of the league. Seattle, a playoff team, 21-13. Tampa Bay, and the Miami game. Miami, I'll give it credit there. I don't think it's a great resume of, and it wasn't like he was passing for great numbers, and he was throwing a lot of interceptions.
Beat the Cowboys in an NFC divisional round game to get to the conference championship.
He did.
So here's the thing, right? I don't think you're wrong. I think on a national scale, it's being overstated how good Brock Purdy is. I think because of how the NFC championship game went down last year, on a local scale, we might be underrating how much he could be for that team. I think the 49ers might be more of a competitor than we initially, or at least I initially gave them credit for. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I think we all have him in the top 2 or 3.
Yeah, I have him third.
But I've long said there's a big gap. I don't know if the gap's as big.
I don't think it's a big gap.
Yeah. I think the gap is bigger between the Eagles and number 2 than the gap is between number 2 and number 3, whether it be Cowboys, 49ers.
That's great. That's great insight.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy started 5 games. I have serious doubts. No, I can't say doubts because I don't know him that well. Now, I watched a full game. Where the hell was I? I think I was in like Baltimore or something like that with my brother-in-law, and I watched for the first time a full game of Brock Purdy, and I came away impressed. I did. I was like,
was it the wild card game?
It may have been
against Seattle.
It may have been.
I think there was the game against Seattle because if I remember you seeing that one.
Yeah, and I was impressed with him. Yeah, I'm not going to be nervous about I'm not going to say the 49ers aren't what they could be because of him, but I'm certainly not putting him over the top in any way after 5 games started in the NFL.
Yeah, I just wonder, a guy like that with a training camp, a lot of confidence from a head coach who
what's a guy like that? Like, I don't know what a guy like that is.
What does that mean?
A guy that proved he could walk onto a team, even though it was a talented team, and win football games. I don't care who you're playing against. Like, he proved he could win football games last year, and now he's got a training camp.
Or did the defense?
Well, he was still the quarterback of that team. You're a big Jimmy Garoppolo guy. I mean, we've been defending that guy for years.
Jimmy Garoppolo led a team to Super Bowls and already did that 2 NFC title games.
Started 5 games, so we're making a lot of.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't make him Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, I'm just saying we've defended Jimmy Garoppolo on the grounds that his team was good around.
Yeah, but he brought a team to 2 NFC title games and a Super Bowl. You can't put Brock Purdy there.
One NFC title game and half a season of playing. I just wonder if we're big time underrating what this guy could be potential wise this year, and if that changes your outlook of the NFC.
It doesn't for me.
Yeah, I can't say I'm underrating him when all I know about him is that he's an Iowa State guy that was taken in whatever round that was behind a rookie last year.
Yeah.
Garoppolo gets hurt. They throw in Trey Lance, and then they had to go to Brock
And Trey
Purdy.
Lance got hurt. That's the only reason.
Exactly. So as great of a coach as Shanahan is and sees all that he sees, he saw enough that this guy was behind a rookie.
Yeah, remember, guys, I preface this. I have a stupid question.
No, but I don't think it's stupid.
But
I think we're just talking it out. I don't think we're bombing on you.
Yeah, I don't expect most people to agree with where I stand when I look at how dangerous he might be at points this year. It's something that I don't know if we've given enough thought to as far as what Brock Purdy as an individual quarterback could be.
Here's what I would tell you. Kyle Shanahan has a great eye for talent, especially offensive. I think he's the best play caller in the game. This is a guy, as Bob says, he didn't think he was better than Trey Lance. He didn't think he was better than Jimmy Garoppolo, and it took season-ending injuries to both guys for him to get his shot. Like, that tells me Connor, he may look at him now that he's seen him and think much higher of him, but I think also it might be play up the guy, build up the guy.
I don't mean to make him Brady, but Belichick didn't start Brady.
No, he didn't.
Sometimes you get caught up with the guys that have been there.
Yeah.
And then you realize what you have.
I'm gonna say right now, though, there's a team that I think is right there in that mix with Dallas, San Francisco, and then them. And it's not the team you think I'm going to say.
Detroit?
Nope. I'm telling you right now, I really like what the Saints are doing.
Huh. Okay.
I'm really interested in the Saints, and I think the Saints are in a division where they should be able to win that division. I don't think Desmond Ridder and C.J. Stroud in Carolina.
Yeah.
And I don't.
Baker Mayfield down there in Tampa doesn't scare you at all?
No, I think that's a division that is just there. I think the Saints are going to roll to that division title with Derek Carr, quarterback. And they just went and got Kareem Hunt yesterday.
It's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
I think the Saints are going to cruise to 10 wins because of their division and maybe really a pest. Remember what that defense did last year to the Eagles? Embarrass them in their own park. And Cooney's Corner's got a story coming up about when a tough loss tells you something about your favorite baseball team. John Kincade Show here on 97.5 The Fanatic. I promise you this.
97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
John Kincade Show on The Fanatic. You know, if your basement or crawl space smells musty or if you have watermarks on the block walls, you need to get a completely free home inspection from the experts. Call BQ Basements and Concrete because the problem's only going to get worse. What is the most difficult thing to move in a home? Because we have a daughter who's going to
son.
a daughter going to college into her first apartment this weekend. And so we are moving, and she's a little put off by it. Her quarters upstairs, her little loft and everything, she's got a year-round apartment, which she wanted. So that's being turned into the guest quarters for us, and her mom's getting an office. So we can have the office set up. So she's a little pissed.
I really struggle with this. Like, I joke about, get the kids out, out. And we downsized. We went from a house where the kids grew up in, and we see where they're going, and they're moving on and up and all. And we downsized and got a house that we wanted for us. But, man, I do struggle saying I would almost like to have upsized so that we could all stay together all the time, so that they could get married and live in our house, too, and all that, all of that stuff. I do struggle with that stuff.
Like, David Koresh.
I'm telling you, I have anxiety syndrome when it comes from partying with my kids. Like, I really do. And I realized it the first time, the day that we dropped our oldest, Bobby, off at college, and we turned around to leave, and I was a mess.
And it was funny.
I hated it.
Last year, you said to me, you thought when we dropped her off at college, the bet was okay. It's going to be tears and everything, and not like there just wasn't any. I don't know if it's because she's so comfortable, like she's so excited to have her first real apartment that we're all excited for her.
Yeah.
But last night we tried to move stuff, so we're moving stuff out of the guest room, bedroom downstairs, which is going to become my wife's office, and we tried to move the mattress, a queen mattress. And it's one of those staircases that goes up, hits a landing, and then goes up like the pivot, the famous Friends pivot staircase. And I swear to you, if there's one thing that may end up getting you to divorce court one day, it's trying to move things yourself.
Yep.
That was not, the mattress was the hardest thing to move.
Oh.
We're moving dressers. We're moving box springs. We're moving anything like that, having no problem. That mattress, moving a queen mattress, it was, first of all, heavier than anything we moved, and trying to get it around angles and everything was not easy.
The mattress is light work.
Really?
Yeah, it's flexible, it's pliable. It's not going to break anything.
Mattresses used to have. Now, my buddy had his own moving business. One of my best friends, so we were on the truck a lot. They used to have handles on them. They did.
Anymore. They had handles on the sides.
Yeah, they don't anymore.
They don't have them.
Sucks.
And you're slipping like you're trying to do it, and I'm like, okay, let's just slow down. We're going to get it done.
Yeah.
We'll slow it down.
I got to admit, you made a mistake.
What's the mistake?
So you knew you had to move some stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. You live with 2 girls.
I do.
Yeah, no.
2.5. Really.
You needed to make the phone call.
And get Doc to come over?
Mark.
Any of your boys. Look, they would have. They would have.
Boys to come over.
Well, we did it.
And say, guys, listen, just tell us where you want it. And I'm just saying,
right,
it's easier to do it.
We could ask Mark next door.
Yeah, you needed to call a couple of buddies and say, hey, come on over. I'll have some beers. I just need you for about an hour to move some furniture, whatever it may be. And then we can sit down, have some beers, watch first part of the Phillies game, whatever you want to do. But that's the way you needed to go.
But what happened was the other stuff we moved didn't end us up in divorce court. Like we did great till the mattress. Everything was fine. Like it was perfect movement. And she got a lot done herself too.
Yeah, I think the dresser is the worst thing to move because that's like the biggest piece of furniture that doesn't come apart.
We have a dresser though in the guest room that is one of the tower dressers instead of the wide ones. You know how the flatter ones that are real wide?
Right.
This one is more of a tower. The tower ones are easy.
Still, though, like a bed you can take apart.
Yeah.
Vanity, the mirror comes off. Like the dresser is just, it can be so bulky if you get a big one.
Well, I have a mover coming Saturday to take her stuff to school. I'm not doing that. So I can't do that right. I don't feel good right now enough to do that. So we hired a mover. The mover's coming Saturday morning. The girls will be down there, and I get a free day.
Look at that.
So real quick, you had Kareem Hunt going to the Saints?
Didn't he go to the Saints yesterday? Or was I wrong?
I don't see anything on it. No,
I thought he did.
Yeah, I had some people asking me.
Oh, he was visiting the Saints.
Vikings also.
I am I guess I don't back off. If Kareem Hunt gets to the Saints,
You called it. Credit John Kincade.
No, they are absolutely. No, I had no information. Obviously, they absolutely, to me, come into the Dallas, San Francisco conversation. They're right there in the next tier down from the Eagles.
I worry about just like the makeup of that team as far as culture is concerned without Sean Payton. And Michael Thomas is a bit of a diva. Alvin Kamara's in trouble. Like
he misses 3 games?
I believe so, yeah.
I think it's 3.
Kamara's out 3.
I worry about the locker room down there. Like there's a very clear feeling. Like Adam Schefter was just talking about the palpability of the feeling inside the Bengals building. Like that's what great teams have. I don't see that from the Saints. And they could be talented, but I don't know. They don't give you the vibe of like a deep playoff contender.
I got to tell you, too, about the Eagles, something that I'm absolutely loving. None of them are hung up on last year's Super Bowl. Or at least that's just the party line. I love it. I love hearing from veteran players and everything being like, look, we can't change what happened last February, but we can change where we're going to be this February. And that's freaking awesome to me. I love it because I watched a team lose the Super Bowl after 28-3, and I watched their approach the next year, and I watched a coaching staff put the video up, the graphic of 28-3 up in their weight room and things like that to like almost like you're taunting your own players with, hey, unfinished business. Look what we did. This year we're going to make it right. I think it weighed them down all year long. I think losing a Super Bowl is the hardest thing to overcome.
Well, then are you worried about Hurts, who has him walking through the Chiefs confetti as his phone background?
No, I love it because what he is he's walking, first of all, he's walking away and he knows where he was and he knows where he wants to be. And that's been his message. We know where we want to be. And by the way, the Eagles players, especially the veterans, they aren't shying away from talking about Las Vegas. And I love that because Nick Sirianni doesn't want to talk about it, and I understand it. That's a good attitude for a head coach to have. We got a long season. There's lots to do. But the veteran players, they all know Vegas. They're focused on the first Super Bowl in Las Vegas. Oh, it's going to be wonderful, and we're going to be there. I'm telling you right now, we're going to be there. I already put down the deposit on the rooms, so this year we're not ending up at the Roach Motel.
Let's hope everyone makes it to the game.
You already put down deposits on rooms?
No, I already got us our rooms. No, I already did because what happens? You wait till the last minute and you end up in the Bates Motel. So that way I make sure it's
presumptuous, not on the team, but on the
no, I can get a refund up to 21 days. I can get a refund. So I got time to be able to say, okay, this team doesn't meet expectations. They're going to meet expectations. This is going to be a team. And somebody will want those rooms too, especially at the price. So, hey, the 9 o'clock hour of the John Kincade Show, we welcome you aboard. Dominion National offering dental and vision plans for everybody, starting at under $8 a month. Teethkeepersave.com. Go to teethkeepersave.com and enroll yourself today. Bob says that sometimes the tough game gives you a lesson.
Now, let's see what's in Cooney's corner.
I wanted to ask you guys this, and take off the pom-poms and the cheering and stuff, and let's kind of look a little bit inwardly, and I'll tell you why I came up with this question. It's because last night the Phillies game gets done. Now, I had running around I had to do and all that, so I stayed on and watched the post-game show because I wanted to get the recaps of everything that happened because I didn't get to see a whole bunch of the game. I only saw like the last 3-4 innings. So the camera goes to Ricky. And Ricky's legit hot.
Really?
He's hot. They, can't believe they lost this game. Where the hell is Sir Anthony Dominguez? The bats aren't there. All those things. And I'm not putting this on Ricky. I'm putting it on all of us and asking all of us this. I seem to think that we have more times than not really hard reaction to Phillies losses way more than we do to Phillies wins this year. And if we think about it, how many times have we come in here and bitched and moaned when they lost a game or two and they're 7-3 over their last 10? Or they won 2 out of 3 as the series, but we concentrate on the one loss a little bit more. Do you guys feel like we're that way, or it's been overwhelmingly that way maybe with the whole fan base? Or is it a case in last night I can give Ricky an excuse because he's a former relief pitcher. He watched a reliever come in and hit a batter after a phenomenal defensive play that lost them the game. Do we overreact to Phillies losses this year?
I don't think it's unfair what you say. I don't think that's unfair.
I don't know what
at
I'm
all.
saying.
I don't know, but I don't think that's unfair at all. I think that, yes, there has been. Because I got to tell you, 10 games over 500 on August 16th isn't good enough.
Well,
This team isn't playing up to their potential. And they're, by the way, they're 17-16 over last 33 games. They're a 500 team for more than a month. That's not good enough.
Wait.
That's not good enough.
so what side are you on? Do you think we overreact to the losses?
But
or are
I
you
do.
saying it's
No. What Bob was saying is, right? If I'm taking it right, Bob, is that they get more vitriol after losses than they get praise after wins. And
don't say that. Oh, they get more. Okay,
They get
yeah.
more. And I absolutely believe that. And I think I am absolutely guilty of that. But I explained my rationale. This team is not playing up to their potential. To be 10 games, to never be in the division race this year, to never even be in the division race with this payroll and this talented roster, that's underachieving. That is underachieving.
This Braves team might be the greatest power baseball team of all time.
Could be. And they're the best. By the way, they're the best, if you heard on ESPN overnights. Best first inning team ever
Yeah, that's the thing. So
in history of baseball.
I'm not too worried about the division. Were we expecting this Phillies team to be all-time great, or were we expecting them to be better than last year, improved, make a vie for the division, which doesn't seem realistic when you see how good the Braves were? It's a separate argument than what we're on right now. I'll just die on that hill that I think the biggest issue is just the Braves are so good. But I think that the reason you see so much more response to the losses this year is they lose games a lot tougher than they win games. Like, when they win games, I just feel like there haven't been that many statement wins this year. There's been the no-hitter. There's been the series in Tampa Bay before the All-Star break.
That was a big one.
There was like the Dodgers-Schwarber walk-off, but I don't know, man. I feel like the games they win are just boring wins, and a lot of times when they lose, they have to do something really stupid to lose, which maybe speaks to how good this team can be.
And I think John kind of just went. So what was the thing you said over how much of it appeared their 500 team?
They're 17-16 in their last 33. So we're talking 5 weeks of baseball. They're a 500 team.
Okay, you want a bigger
that is the recent right there. 5 weeks.
It's not.
Why? What do you mean?
Because over the last 63 games, they're 40-23.
Yeah, well,
that's
then-
a 634 winning percentage.
I think
That's a
that
bigger sample.
Science would tell,
And
but science would tell you the 33 is more what they are now. That's what it would tell you. When you're doing statistics, it would tell you what they are
Science
now.
never
We're
would
not
tell
mad
me
at
that.
science.
What they are now. Well, what they are now is a 500. They're playing like a 500 team for 5 weeks. Is that the longer you
Can't
stretch
take
it
away
out?
everything, no?
The longer you stretch it out, I don't believe much of what happened in June is affecting the team in August.
Yeah.
I do believe what's affected the team in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks matters a hell of a lot more than what happened the first week of June.
Tell you what, unless John Brankus is walking through that door, I'm not hearing the word sports and science together in the same sentence.
Science!
But I listen, I get your argument, John, because it's a what have you done lately for me thing. That's how sports work in general. But the bigger sample size is kind of how baseball works.
But
that's
Bob-
why there's 162.
But Bob's point is I think very, very valid. I do think a reaction to a loss, definitely more critical, definitely more than the win.
But it could go to, and this was in the back of my mind, and Connor you guys both brought it up, about the way they lose games.
Yes, that's it.
You know,
They kick away games.
There's just stuff. There's not a, like last night, we can even say, and Connor, you said it today when we first walked in together. You're like, okay, last night was a loss. Early in the game, you tweeted out that the other pitcher looked really good, and you could see it. Okay. But then when you expand on it and you say Ricky's reaction, because you had a reliever get a great defensive play, and then on the very next pitch with the bases loaded, he hits a guy,
Terrible.
and they lose the game 2-1 in the bottom of the eighth. Like that, it is. As much as you want it to be normal, okay, that they lost, they're going to lose games. But that way sucks.
That was terrible.
If the
Yeah.
Sixers won 50 games or something, that would be a solid season. But if all 32 they lost were on buzzer beaters, we'd be pulling our hair out. That's the thing.
We already cut our hair.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like
we've got a little bit left. We'll
got
get
a
some
little bit.
tweezers.
Yours is by the way, yours is coming back great.
I'm Greek,
I
baby.
think Connor's
Grows in
going
fast.
he's a little thinner up top than I thought he was.
Why don't you
No, I
calm
think
it
it
down
looks-
over there, Cootie?
I think
Take
it
that
looks
hat
good.
off and come
No,
see me.
I think
Connor-
you got to go fade.
Connor,
Make it look
I think it
thicker
looks.
up top,
I think it looks
Connor.
good, dude.
Get a Sharpie and just like draw it in.
No.
You might. I could see you doing the spray paint.
I think it'll grow back.
Buddy
just
Ryan, remember when Buddy Ryan did that?
No.
Buddy Ryan did the bald spot covering with the
Oh, did he really?
with the spray can.
I don't
you-
remember
like
that.
that made your hair. Buddy Ryan was like, "Yeah, I can do that."
fine. Yeah, I'm out on that. I think mine will grow back.
You don't have a bald spot. Your hair
if you look
he
at
does
it,
not have a bald spot.
look
Stop
at the
it.
top of his hair.
You
There's some
right now.
thinning up there.
You're getting him into like a that would be something that would at Connor's age, at my age, it would cause me to hyperventilate. I don't like that.
Well, I know, Bob. His eyesight isn't all that great in his advanced age.
Oh,
so
I
you
can
can't
see
really.
fine.
You have the
I
right
can see
contacts
fine,
in
and
today
I
over
see
there,
what I
people?
don't see, and I don't see a full head of hair on top of that.
I
head
think it
anymore.
looks. I think your hair looks.
Oh, it looks fine. He looks good.
No,
I hope you got front row seats to Bruce tonight. You're gonna think you're watching Bon Jovi. Which guy is this?
No, Bon Jovi. No, Bon Jovi looks more like he's going the way of Paul McCartney.
I haven't seen Bon Jovi in years.
He's looking more like an old woman with all the facial surgeries. They look more like grandma than they do grown. A man is supposed to age with some ruggedness to the face. Some like it's not supposed to be pulled back so far that you literally have to.
Bob keeps talking like that. He's gonna age with some real ruggedness.
Bob
in the face.
Bob looks fantastic.
I can't tell if somebody has work done or
Wait a
doesn't have
minute.
work done. Or,
You can't
like,
tell
I
Paul
mean,
McCartney's had work done. Paul McCartney's like
look at
80
Paul
years.
McCartney
Paul
that
McCartney's
close.
like 80 years old, and he looks like Mrs. Doubtfire. I mean, it's like you can tell when a guy's had work done, can't you?
I don't look at.
No, I don't look at men.
I don't.
I don't look at men. This is where Egan would be getting on him. Connor, you're supposed to.
Somebody
go.
says Bon Jovi looks like B. Arthur.
Yes, he does. He does. What? I don't understand it.
Would you have work done if you didn't like the way
There's
you
only
looked?
one thing that I would ever consider.
Boob job.
Boob job would be great. And I'd go double D's. I really would. I go double. No, my biggest would be taking care of the gobble. That would be different. Absolutely. Would I get an eye job? Would I get a facelift? Hell no. You're supposed to look. You're a grown man. You're going to be a grandpa someday.
Well,
You're
what
gonna
if you become a grown man and you start to look like that grandmother that you're talking about?
You won't,
Then
but you're
maybe
not going to. If you do the facial surgery, you will. If
I'm
you
not
don't
going to yuck somebody's yum.
if you don't do the facial surgery, you're going to look like a man whose age.
We got to start yucking somebody's yum at some point.
I mean, seriously,
not every yum is
Bob
okay.
looks seriously. Bob,
Unyucked?
Bob, you look good for your age.
All right.
I look
Starting to
good
feel
for my
uncomfortable right
age.
now.
It's that you just be good, just be your age. Like accept it.
No.
No,
I'm always
no.
gonna
You
be
don't act your.
25.
You don't act your. Age.
That's like me and Connor throw balls at each other during the break,
What?
and we're running all over the studio like idiots.
No, that's good. Acting your age is different. I said that's going to be great because when Bob might be the best. If you were saying like prototypical guy who would be a fantastic grandpa. When Bob has grandchildren, he'll be in the yard. He'll be setting up a wiffle ball field. He'll be teaching them to swim.
So
he'll be bringing them to games.
Yeah.
You will be one of the best grandpas ever because you're energetic and you can do it and you're interested in it. You love to play.
This is weird. It's funny you say that. So I think I'm going to see 3 of my nephews this weekend that I haven't seen in a long time.
Right.
They're actually great nephews. They're
Okay.
my nieces.
Okay.
Kids. The enthusiasm that I went home with to tell Donna that when I found out that they were coming was I felt like I was a little kid.
Because
I have 3 people to play with.
and he has kids, and you're going to be in the
So,
pool. And you
I'm
said they don't want to leave the pool, right?
I'm texting my niece, and I'm like, what games do they like to play? Like, what can we do? Should I get stuff that we can all dive underneath and, like, throw things on the bottom of the pool
you have
that they
to.
can go get? I said, I got the cornhole out, and I got this and the other, and I got Connect 4, we have a big thing at Connect 4, an outside thing. Like, I am so pumped up to have somebody to play with this
Wait a minute, you have
weekend.
the big Casey Connect 4? Like,
I don't know how- I
his
heard Casey
Caseys
has
are
it.
gigantic.
Yeah, ours are like
okay,
this
are
big.
they? And it's a big
Yeah.
Game Boy.
Yeah, it
all right.
sits
Where
on a
did you
table
Where did you
and
get
stuff.
that?
I think we were at a pool store or something. I don't know. I forget
want
where
it.
we got
I
it.
want it.
Yeah.
So tell me where you bought yours if you're
you
out
can
there.
do Amazon.com, John. It works really well. But
Well,
I
the
haven't
thing is,
done it yet, but
see,
I hear it's good.
Now, it's weird about that is, well, first off, I if I'm not sure, I think Christina may be carrying on with the Amazon guy because he's there every day. I mean, I see it at my door. He's every day. Some reason he's coming there. I don't know what she's buying, but there's something that's coming every day. To me, the idea of I'm not buying something like that off the internet because I'm thinking it's going to be cheap. I have to sort of feel it. I want it to be heavy. Like I want it to be something that's going to blow over. I'd love to have that because I could sit there and play that, have a cocktail. Not right now.
It's a chance you take. It's a chance you take. My wife got one of our children whose birthday's coming up a present online.
Did she like it or not?
It was well, his birthday party is this weekend, so we can't say what it is, but it came. And it's a hell of a lot bigger than we both thought it was.
Oh,
so,
well, then, you never know. Do you buy off?
Come to my advantage too. So,
do you buy off the internet?
I don't do that. No, Donna does all that.
I'm not a big buy off the internet. Connor, are you a?
Yeah, I'll buy off the internet.
No, I mean I will.
I grew up with it. I'm used to it.
So you will you don't want to do you buy clothes off the internet?
Yeah.
So you do. You
I'm
feel
a pretty
like
normally sized guy though.
So you think sizing usually is pretty good and everything like that?
No, but I fit into everything.
See, I'll buy Under Armour stuff or I'll buy Adidas stuff or whatever where I know, okay, I've got another Adidas shirt, Adidas golf shirts. I know exactly what I want. And so that, there's that. But I'm always leery of buying on the internet.
Yeah, I'm just super average size, like height and weight wise. So yeah, I'm pretty easy to size up.
Hey, the 9 o'clock hour of the John Kincade Show is brought to you by the Bagster. It's a dumpster in a bag. You can get yours today at Home Depot and Lowe's. For details, go to Bagster.com. Shout out to Cardinal O'Hara as they are in football camp. I'm wearing my O'Hara golf shirt today. And also to Legacy on Lanier. If you ever wanted to visit where they filmed Ozark, check out Legacy on Lanier Island's golf. We used to hold our charity golf tournament there every single year when I was down south, and they sent along some hats yesterday. Bob got one of the hats.
Yeah,
I said I'm all on it there, and it's a great track and some great people, and I appreciate them thinking of me right now. And I look forward.
Great place for a swim after your round of golf too.
Well, you could swim where your 12 holes are on the water, which is fantastic. It's one of the most picturesque courses. But you could also be when you're on one of the holes, I could show you if you look across there, you can see where Ruth lived on Ozark. You can see where that was what they were backing up to. It's a fun drive. If you were a fan of Ozark, you want to play this course because even during the series, Jason Bateman and them, when they go out on the round of golf, they're at this golf course, Legacy on Lanier. So check it on out. We appreciate them very, very much. Coming up, the Sixers situation. I think it needs more of a psychiatrist.
FanDuel.com/RG.
Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Home stretch of the John Kincade Show. We'll check in with Dave Leno at the bottom of the hour. Voice of the Union. I can't imagine it was a very good night, because it wasn't. It wasn't a good night. We'll talk to him coming up. Sleep Healthy PA wants you to know if you snore, you might think you have sleep apnea. Check out sleephealthypa.com, a sleep solution you've been looking for. That's sleephealthypa.com. Bob, so the 76ers situation, yesterday as I'm listening to Cuz Radio and I'm listening to Best Show Ever, I had a lot of time on the road yesterday. It seems like people are almost lined up into camps that is Team Harden or Team Morey. Whereas I think this is Team Harden versus Team Sixers. He's declared war on our franchise, and he wants to sink the battleship. So to me, first of all, I think, and I'll say it clearly, I think James Harden is a complete fraud. And I would absolutely change my opinion. If Daryl Morey exited the franchise, I do not believe for 1 second that he would be okay with being here without a contract. I think he'd find a new thing to bitch about and to claim he was wronged about.
Well, he has a contract.
You know what I'm talking about? He'd want the extension still.
Well, they're not giving it to him.
And he'd say, oh, well, I'm still lied to, whatever. I will not be part of an organization that Daryl Morey is a part of. I do not believe for 1 second that if the Sixers fired Daryl Morey, that James Harden would go, okay, well, I'm fine now. He's not part of the franchise. I'm fine. I think he is duplicitous. I think he's shown it over and over again. I wouldn't trust the guy. I wouldn't trust the guy as far as I could throw him, and obviously I couldn't throw him far.
Yeah, I wouldn't call him that because I have no idea what that means, so I'm not going to do that. But I don't know the story, and I'm being honest here. And yes, I've had people with the Sixers tell me, look, there was no agreement. Okay. I also have had people tell me stuff before that wasn't true. I'm not saying the Sixers aren't being honest.
Sure.
I believe something was said. I do believe, and as I told you, I made many phone calls, and I got a lot of people, without me saying it, also believe that Daryl Morey must have said to him at some point, don't worry, we'll take care of it. It could have been in passing. It could have been something as innocuous as what I just said to you, John. I do think something was done there. I do believe James Harden rode that out to think, okay, they're going to take care of me. And he feels wronged. The actions of Harden in the past would back up what you're saying. Yeah. That, okay, another team's wronged him and this and that and the other.
It's the third time. I mean, seriously.
Yeah. So for him to go with this vitriol of, I'm going to ruin this organization, and him coming out, let me say this again, he's a liar. I found that surprising. Yep. And if you want to go on his character and say, oh, no, it's not surprising because he's a jerk anyway, I'm not there yet, and I don't know the full story. So I'm still kind of up in the air. What I think is that there was that kind of, don't worry, we'll take care of you. He opts in. He says, yeah, take that extra money. Go get P.J. Tucker. Go get Daniel House. Let's do this. Let's win a championship. And then as the year went on, he's kind of realizing, wow, they're not talking to me about this.
No.
And so I'm wondering, and if I was a conspiracy theorist, that when owner Josh Harris, got really serious about buying this Washington Commanders team, that there was cost cutbacks. And he was like, nah, you know what? We're not doing a long-term
big deal. We can't do that.
And maybe Daryl Morey got caught with his thumb up his butt a little bit and was like, sorry, James, can't do it. And boom, there it is.
It is.
I don't know if any of that's true. That's my wonderment.
Well, the one thing is, I think the timing was something that Ramona Shelburne brought it up yesterday. We're not going to hear that soundbite again, but Ramona brought it up yesterday. The timing of the Sixers saying we're no longer pursuing a trade. Within 24 hours, James Harden goes nuclear. To me, that tells me that was what the promise was. That's where he's a liar.
There could have been a couple promises, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he waited until he went nuclear at the moment that the Sixers said we are no longer pursuing a trade because they weren't finding anything. I put that as a timeline that's not.
All right, devil's advocate.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No,
devil's advocate. Harden says, okay, I'll opt in. You're going to trade me, right? I'll opt in for you to trade me.
Yes.
And they say, yeah, okay. And then not the next words you hear, but you hear a couple weeks down the road, yeah, he's off the table.
Now that absolutely would piss me off. But I'd also then say, I'm an adult. What were the offers? Like, what were you getting offered? And guess what? The Sixers owe him nothing.
I hear
they
you.
don't owe him to take a crap deal.
Now let's go back to what many think.
Okay.
And have said to me, okay, there was don't worry, we're going to give you a long-term deal. It's probably not going to be 4 years, but we'll take care of that later on down the road. What if that happened? Boom. And then it didn't happen. It was taken away. Then Harden's told, okay, just opt in and we'll trade you. And they take him off the table. What if something happened twice to him by this organization, and that's the reason he's exploding?
It could very well happen. That's your scenario you just put out there could be extremely logical. One thing I do know, and it was reinforced yesterday on NBA Today on ESPN, their panel hasn't heard anything about Daryl Morey being a duplicitous guy or a guy who lies to people. In fact, they say he's too chummy, which is something you said yesterday. They sort of portrayed him as a guy who is known as being too chummy, too close to the players, too much in the players' pocket, and they think sometimes he's gotten played by players. They didn't portray him as, man, this guy is known around league circles as a guy you can't trust. I can tell you, if you watch those, at least the broadcast yesterday, they sort of they don't appear to be in James Harden's camp. They believe that the belief yesterday was that the trade was the biggest reason that James Harden, and that within 24 hours he goes nuts. That can't be a coincidence.
All right, so this is where society is,
right.
And you put it perfectly. You have to be either Team Harden,
right? Exactly.
Or Team. I'm not there. I'm not Team Harden. I'm not Team. I'm
You're
team.
on the fence
I
right now.
Find out what happened.
You're on Team 76ers.
What's that?
You're on Team 76ers. You're a Sixers fan. You want to see the Sixers do the best for them, right?
No, I'm more of a reporter in all this, in that I don't come to conclusions or take a side because I don't know what the whole story is yet.
Well, let's find out a little bit about what went down last night at Subaru Park. Dave Leno joins us, the voice of the Philadelphia Union on the Comcast Business Hotline, where every day in business is a big day. Dave, all I can think about with last night is, again, the Union had a chance to bring in all the people that are usually portrayed as casuals, because all the eyeballs were on them last night, and they came woefully short. I mean, that could never have been what you were expecting.
It was nightmarish, John. It's great to be with you this morning, and sorry to talk about a Union loss in the semifinals of Leagues Cup, and everything really changed very early in the game for those that missed it in the third minute. Like I said to you yesterday on the air, I thought the Union would sit back, and they did in a different formation in a 5-4-1 where they're playing five in the back, gave Miami the bulk of the possession. And one of their center backs, Suri Kristoff, just hits a long ball 50 yards downfield, and they get the guy that's been the fastest to score 100 goals in MLS for a different team, Joseph Martinez, when he donned his Atlanta jersey. Now with Miami, playing with Messi, he scores. And that sucks the life out of the building. That throws all the tactics. And I know it's an early goal, still plenty of time, obviously, to go. And Jim Kern said in the post-game press conference, that changed a lot of things for the Union. That smacked them right in the mouth. And it was a gut punch and very disappointing from then on out. And as far as, to your comment about Union supporters and new eyeballs on the team, you're absolutely right. We played in a ton of big games like last night. We came up short yet again. The atmosphere was electric. It was the largest crowd in our stadium, so hats off to all the supporters listening and to those that came out last night, over 19,000. I caught two guys hanging over the Commodore Barry Bridge overpass, peering through the stadium on the opposite side of the stadium.
That's wild. Yes.
Yeah, there were about 6 or 7 deep in the corners, John, with standing room only, but no doubt, disappointing night all around.
Dave, did you get the feeling right off the bat that the Union came out passively? I don't want to say playing not to lose. I hate phrases like that, scared, whatever. I can't stand those phrases. But did they come out, in your mind, too passively, or did they try to be too aggressive and it hurt them that way?
Bob, they definitely came out with a defensive mindset and try to get through the first 15, 20 minutes and kind of sit back a little bit, give Miami the ball, get organized. A lot of folks said, why is Chris Donovan, the guy who was the hero the other night against Querétaro, starting up top? Well, Julian Carranza, one of our forwards, who actually played for Inter Miami and really was a guy that was relegated to coming off the bench, not starting for them, who gets loaned to us. We pick him up. We sign him. He's a guy that's rumored that maybe can get signed overseas. And he doesn't play in this game because of injury. Got injured in the last game very late in that one. He only would have come on in the case that we would have went to penalty. So I think that was a little misleading. Like, fans are like, why didn't Jim start Carranza? So Donovan starts. So to your question, the team then, obviously, with not like a true informed striker, had to sit back a little bit, dispossess Miami out of the midfielder, them coming up, and like I said to you guys yesterday, try to hit them on a counter. Danny Gazdag, who came back off of injury, he's our number 10, like our attacking midfield, had 3 opportunities to score in the first half. One that was on frame. Their goalkeeper, Drake Callender, was marvelous throughout the night, and the Union were much better in the second half. Do I think they were really passive? I think, guys, it was part of the game plan in the first 15, 20 minutes. You could say, why didn't they throw numbers forward and attack this team? I would tell you, and maybe sure you can listen and say this is hindsight, but if they threw all these numbers forward and said, all right, go get it, go chase the early goal very early on in the game, Miami's so good in transition, they might have hit us for more than 4 goals like last night transpired.
I do think that something sucked, Dave, and it wasn't not about the Union. It was the fact that when Messi scored, that cheer, I've listened to your call of it. I saw it on Apple TV. I got to tell you, I think that sucked, that in the Union Stadium, and I bet you the players didn't dig it either, that Messi scores, and it sounded like a home team score. Not as overwhelming as if the Union had scored, but I didn't like that at all. I think it sucks.
It was unfortunate that he cashed, and I was hoping for a big brick wall Blake save on Messi, to be honest with you.
Sure.
That was the second time Messi has gone up against Andre Blake and one of our center backs, Damian Lowe, when Argentina played Jamaica in a friendly at Red Bull Arena last year. Messi scored twice against Blake a year ago, does again. And what was disappointing was that shot by Messi, for those that didn't hear our call here on these airwaves, was from about 35 yards away. And I was thinking to myself as I was doing the play-by-play, like, here we go. He's picking the ball up past the halfway line. He's going to shoot. Guys got to be ready. Twice, unfortunately, our 3-time goalkeeper of the year, Andre Blake, 4-time All-Star. This is not a stretch to say. He's the best in MLS. Definitely could be playing overseas if Jamaica's FIFA ranking was a lot higher. But we're fortunate to have him for the Union. It was a tough night for Andre. And I think he would be the first one to tell you. And the same for our back line. And Blake was caught a couple times, including in the Messi goal that you're referencing, backpedaling. Straddling kind of like with an open stance, like kind of think of a right-handed hitter with baseball, an open stance towards the left field foul ball. That's what Blake was a couple times, just caught off guard. And so was our back line on a couple of misplays. That Messi goal, the crowd was probably, John, about, I would say comfortably 70-30 in favor of the Union, 30% Messi fans, maybe 80-20. I referenced that early on. When he first came out for warm-ups about 50 minutes before kickoff, he got what I expected. He got a lot of cheers, and he got that Philly welcome for a visiting player. And I think that also shows respect. David Beckham said the same when he played for LA Galaxy, when he played against the Union back in the day, too. And that shows a sign of respect, and tough to see Messi score. But I would say, and this is a big theme, he had a goal and assist, but I would not tell you that Messi killed the Union. Yes, the Union lost 4-1, but it wasn't because solely of Lionel Messi. His presence absolutely felt. We found him later on into the game. I think they could have been a little more physical against him, but he was not the one that solely beat the Union. Like I told you yesterday, his play, his presence just elevates everybody else. I counted like maybe 10 touches in the first half for Messi. He was, standing on one side of the field for about a 4 or 5 minute stretch in the second half. We had so many chances. We outshot them 16-5, but only had like 4 shots on goal. That needs to be better. We weren't clinical in the final third, and as a result, we're on to the third place game, and they're on to the final.
We'll look forward to talking to you during the playoffs, and hopefully it'll be another long run, and maybe this year ends differently. Dave, we appreciate you making time for us today, buddy.
All right, John. Thanks for the time.
Hey, thanks, Dave Leno joined us on the Comcast Business Hotline. I hate third-place games, by the way. Now, it's great to see.
I didn't know that there was one. Yeah, I saw it, and because you know what, as a coach or whatever, it's just so hard to get your team up for it. And the Union has been slumping of late. And I'm not just talking about last night's game. Jim Curtin even said after their previous quarterfinal win, he's like, look, we played like crap. We won 2-1 on a last-second goal. But if we play like that against Lionel Messi, we're not going to win. And sure enough, he was right. A couple games before that in the MLS, they're just not playing up to snuff now. I don't know if you can use a third-place game to kind of straighten out the ship, get back on track, however you want to label it. My first thought is no.
Nah, not third place.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if you see a bunch of young guys out there playing and you just try to get yourself gathered for the rest of the MLS season.
All right, Joe in West Philly wanted to chime in on the Daryl Morey conversation. Joe, thank you for holding, and welcome to the Fanatic. How are you, buddy?
Hey, welcome, fellas, man. I think, to me, it like Daryl Morey, it seemed like the situation where the girlfriend, she says she's ready to go on about her life and move on, and then all of a sudden it's like, if I can't have James, nobody can. I don't understand the situation. I mean, to me, it's Morey, you're not going to get what you gave up for him. You're not going to get a bunch of first-round picks and 3 players and an all-star and all that. I mean, you got to chalk it up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we heard the same thing earlier with Tobias Harris trade. The people in the NBA said Morey is out of whack with his trades and the value of his players and things like that. And that's what it sounded like to me. It was agreed to have a trade, and Morey reneged on a trade.
This is what people were saying, though, Joe, respectfully, when he ended up acquiring James Harden in the Ben Simmons deal. He was getting ripped left and right for all the deals he didn't take, and he was patient and ended up getting the best deal for the Sixers. And I got to tell you this, I don't give a flip what James Harden wants. I want the Sixers to get the best deal possible.
That was that was the best deal for the Sixers. You know what I mean? All that he gave up.
You don't think that was the best deal?
No, I don't think a 34-year-old James Harden was the best deal. They could have went younger and better. They gave him 2 first-round picks. Ben Simmons was...
Well, no. I agree with you on that. I didn't want to do all that. But I think, too, the loss of Seth Curry didn't help either. But, I mean, no. I think that team, though, they were getting better. The offers weren't supposedly there for that, Bobby.
Yeah, I know. I think Joe's talking about Halliburton, if that was actually on the table or not. I haven't gotten confirmation from anyone that was absolutely there. To Joe's point, I did talk to somebody that said, the Clippers were willing to negotiate with the Sixers for a trade, but not with what the Sixers were asking. And so that fell apart. So... No, I don't know. I don't know if
because we don't know what the Sixers were offering. We're wanting, and we don't know what the Clippers were offering back. Right?
Yeah. So
how do you do that when you negotiate? When you do that as a writer, as a beat guy, or whatever? How do you go about evaluating that? Because it really is. It's hard to understand.
Well, it's rare also that they're going to tell you exactly what the pieces were that fell through. You might get hints of things here and there, and whatever. But usually trades are. Even the Wojs, they don't really come about until somebody gives you the exact same. Until it's been entered to the league to sign off on it is the time that Woj gets it.
I just really can't understand. I guess I don't understand, Connor, the guy who is vehemently Team Harden. He wants to burn down your franchise. He wants to take the Sixers' chances to succeed this year in the toilet. That's his goal. And he opted into a contract to play here. Yeah. I mean, it's like, to me, I think this is crap that people would... I can't understand anybody who's a Sixers fan being Team Harden in this. It makes no sense.
I get what you're saying, and I get where you're coming from, and I don't disagree with you. I'm going to play devil's advocate here, though.
All right.
When was the last time you saw Daryl Morey dunk a basketball?
Well,
when was the last time you saw him hit a step-back three?
I saw him play tennis last year in sweatpants.
Might be a good tennis player.
No, in the sweatpants. Him and Joel. That didn't look good.
And bottom line is, some fans will always take the player's perspective because the players are the one whose jerseys you buy. They're the ones you root for.
Bad.
They're the ones you watch every night. Like, there are kids outside emulating James Harden's step back.
Yeah, but he wants to destroy your team.
Listen, like I said, I agree with you. I get where you're coming from there. But some folks will always agree with the player over management because the player is the reason for rooting for the sport.
I can't imagine a Sixers fan going, yeah, get him, James. Go get him. He's literally peeing on your franchise. He is saying, that's what he's doing.
Not on the franchise.
Yes, he is. He wants to do
on the president of basketball operations.
He signed a contract to play for the Philadelphia 76ers this year.
And like Bob said, we don't know what's going on with the full story of that.
Well, the full story, no. One story is you sign on the dotted line to play for the Philadelphia 76ers. And you know why you did it? Because nobody was offering you any kind of money that was close to that.
Yeah. Or he did it that he was told he's getting traded. Yeah, opt in because we're going to trade you.
Yeah, well, he also was having no market, which has been reported by like everybody. There was no $37 million market for him.
Well, then he says, trade me for whatever. I want to get out.
Oh, well, that doesn't work.
Well,
that doesn't work for us.
If they said they're going to move him,
Yeah, but I guarantee you, there is no way Daryl Morey.
You can't guarantee us.
I can guarantee you that Daryl Morey did not say, we'll get whatever we can for you. No, he's going to say, look, we're going to get a good deal for us, and we're going to get you out of here. I could believe that conversation. No general manager saying, yeah, we're going to get you out of here, James, and we'll just take whatever we can get. Nobody's saying that.
Here's something that I come back to when I look at this.
All right.
When he forced his way out of Houston, when he forced his way out of Brooklyn, none of those times has he ever been as adamant and vocal in front of the media as what he just was when we got that soundbite about Daryl Morey.
I had, real quick, I had two people say that to me.
About how adamant.
How he came out like that, so there's something.
Well, Ramona said it.
I'm sorry, Connor. I didn't mean to.
No, you're good.
And Ramona said that too.
Yeah, it's just like
it shocked people.
He was still okay. Like no one would say anything bad about him as far as his teammates or the organization in Brooklyn and stuff like that. We knew there was issues there, but he didn't come out and say, I hate this place. He actually came out and said that he didn't want to create waves, that he doesn't want to be traded right before he got traded. Well, and Houston, he created problems on the court.
And he's going to do that here.
Yes, exactly. But he never came out and was like, I hate Houston. I hate this place. I never want to come back here. Like here, he is burning a bridge. And even though he's left two places before this, he's never done it quite like this.
Kendrick Perkins, who has long been a James Harden supporter, flat out says, on ESPN, he doesn't understand his value. He thinks he's still thought of as James Harden. Right. He's not.
Business-wise, I don't think Harden's gone about this very well at all, of course.
Right.
But there is that underlying, what was he told? What was he promised? Was there anything there?
I think it goes to the trade, though. I really do. I think it goes to the trade. But you can't demand that the team just take... Like, we don't know what the Clippers are offering.
Right, but we don't know that he demanded that. Daryl Morey could have said, I know there's a market out there for you somewhere. We're going to find it. You're going to be traded.
Do you think he gave him a timeline and said, I'm going to trade you by August 15th?
That's the thing. I don't know.
Yeah, but do you think that? I don't believe he did.
I don't believe
what general manager would do that?
Well, who said he promised him that? But the Sixers were the one that came out.
I don't believe anything like that ever happened.
You don't have to. You just have to keep your mind open to the fact that there might be things we're not seeing here.
I said this to you before Harden came out and said what he said. I said, I find it odd that the Sixers came out and said he's off the trade market. Why?
You did. What was it about?
This all feeds into this. You know, you have to look big picture, and you can be settled on one way, and that's it. And then you don't hear the other things. You have to hear everything on this. And when the Sixers came out and said, yeah, he's off the trade block, I came right into you and I said, why did they say that?
First thing, that baffled you.
Why would you make that public?
I don't understand either.
So there's stuff going on that we don't know about.
But that's what I think this is all about, though. I think this is the fact that James Harden went nuclear within 24 hours of the Sixers making that statement tells me that that's where the lie is. That's what James thinks the lie is. Because none of his actions...
that's where the volcano erupted.
Because none of his actions during the season reflected to me a guy who knew he had a contract.
So a volcano just doesn't erupt. It doesn't just happen. No, there's a whole bunch of stuff that gathers that has to go on beneath the surface that you don't see, that you don't hear, and then all of a sudden it gets to, boom, there
bubbling,
it goes.
And there it goes.
I wonder if this is a situation like that.
Bob said there would be no science on this show, and he just did science.
Yeah,
Bob was like, you know all about
bring up a volcano every once in a while.
The magma. You knew all about the hot magma that was out there. So it's terrible.
It's such a weird situation.
It's terrible.
And I'll tell you what, I do think with how volatile it's become and how vocal Harden's already been, I think we're going to find out. Most times it'd be like, we may never know. Like the Jimmy Butler situation, we're years later, and we don't know the true conversations that went on with how he left the city and why people were chosen, whatever. This one, I feel like it's so volatile, we're going to hear a lot more in the coming days about this.
All I know is within 3 years, on the calendar, on the clock, James Harden has decided for a third time, it's not his situation. At some point, James, look in the mirror and realize it's you. Realize it's you. Nobody else is in the NBA's had this 3 years in a row.
Right.
Like 3 calendar years. At some point, James needs to realize maybe I'm overvaluing myself. Maybe I'm looking in the mirror and I'm seeing 28-year-old James Harden. He's not there anymore. I need to look at a more respectable number of what I want and just understand that. Or I have to understand that the Sixers want to move me, but they got to wait till they get a deal that benefits the Sixers. Why should this fan base be screwed over to service James Harden, who has no market on the free agent? Then no market. Everybody had a chance to get him.
Yeah, but two things can be true. He can be super overvaluing himself as a player, and the Sixers could have also misrepresented how they were handling his situation.
There's no question that you're right there.
Yeah.
There's no question that absolutely could be the scenario.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to pull you off your stance that it's one way, because we don't know the other way. I'm just saying be open to the fact that we might learn more that says that it's not as much Harden as you might feel it is right now.
Well, I would tell you he is public enemy number one. And if you're, I don't understand being on Team Harden in this, if you're a 76ers fan, because this is going to suck. If James Harden does this, if he burns this franchise down, by the way, this is going to lead to Joel Embiid leaving. This is going to lead to another rebuild. So be ready for it. And realize this man is not your friend. He doesn't care about your franchise. He doesn't care. And you're going to sit through a winter that sucks
but he's your
because of his actions.
He's your best player's friend. So maybe
and that's going to screw it. What he's doing, he's not coming back.
Well, maybe being Team James Harden is also being Team Joel Embiid. I don't know.
Yeah, but it also goes back to what if their proof comes out that Morey did what Harden is saying? Then that's why I'm saying that you don't have to be team this, team that. Just try to take a look at this whole situation, see how it plays out. If it comes out that Morey did promise him, and it does come out that, I don't know, somebody leaks an assistant manager of the team.
Email.
And he says, yeah, you know what? He did tell him that they were going to sign him to probably a 2. Maybe I'm going to try to get you 3 years here. And that's what Harden was going on. That negates what Harden thinks about himself as far as value. It negates everything about, well, he didn't want to leave. He thought he was staying here. He thought he had 2-3 more years with Joel Embiid because that's what he was promised. Like, then the whole thing shifts the other way. Until there's
we never will know, right?
I don't do team and this or team that.
Unless somebody leaks. Well, the one thing is this guy's trying to destroy our winter.
Well,
he's trying to destroy. He's trying to, for his self-interest. He's trying to destroy. I believe the Sixers are trying.
The Sixers have destroyed his career right now. In his mind.
He had a chance to walk away and be a free agent. He could have gone anywhere he wanted.
He was all right. I'm devil's advocate. I'm not saying this because case.
All right.
He was promised, and then the promise got taken away, and then he said, "Well, what do you want me to do? You want me to opt in? I'll opt in then you can trade me." And they say, "Okay, no problem, do that." And then they come out like a month later and say, "Yeah, he's off the trading block." Maybe, just maybe, in all of this, James Harden got screwed. And look, this is.
I got you. But here's what I'll say to you: if James Harden thought that Daryl Morey was a liar, he could have walked away in free agency, signed wherever he wanted if there was a market for him. Or he could have gone and said, "Why would he sign with it? Why would he trust a guy if he thought he was a liar during the season?" If people are trying to sell me on, he thought he had a guaranteed contract offer. If you're selling me on that, then why would he ever accept his word on, opt in the trade? James wanted the $37 million.
Yeah,
that's what he wanted because he knew he couldn't get it anywhere else.
If someone you've trusted for years lies to you once and then
you're not trusting him again, are you?
Yeah, someone with that relationship where he said he wanted to come to Philly for Daryl Morey.
If Morey went to him and said, "Dude, I would give it to you, but the ownership just came and said I can't," and you're stuck right here. And Harden knows his value on the free agent. He goes, "Okay, I'll opt in." So I'm guaranteed that $32 million this year. Whatever. I'll opt in, but this isn't going to work out now. If they don't want me, I don't want to be here. I don't know. Again, devil's advocate.
It's wild.
But listen, a quick shout out I want to give.
Sure.
I was talking to Fran Dunphy last night. We were just shooting the crap, whatever. Great story. So our friend Jacob that came to our open house a week ago or so. Amputee.
Yeah, I saw him yesterday.
Oh, did you really?
I saw him. He was at the youth sports broadcasters camp. I was at sports broadcasters camp, and he was there. I got to see him yesterday, and he was just as cantankerous and argumentative, and he was awesome.
And he wants to take up golf in high school. And a guy at Valley Green, I got to get his name. Anyway, where Dumpf belongs at Valley Green wants to take care of him and is going to give him lessons. And the guy that's going to give him, his name is Fred Heller at Rolling Green, not at Rolling Green. The guy, Fred Heller, is also an amputee. Same
That's
leg.
Amazing.
And so he is going to take Jacob and teach him how to hit golf balls. So I just thought a great story, and Dumpf wanted to share that with us.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
And I saw Jacob yesterday, and what I would say to you is he's got his eye on every one of our jobs. is all I'm going to tell you.
Just give me a couple more years, Jake.
And
That's all I need,
and
buddy.
he's preparing for it. So good job, buddy. We love you. Hey, support life-saving cancer research. Join us and our generous partner, David Auto Group, and make a donation today to the American Association for Cancer Research. You can do it at 975thefanatic.com/AACR because cancer research saves lives. It's greatly appreciated. Bob, have a great time at Springsteen and a great long weekend.
Thank you,
We'll look
boys.
forward to catching up with you when you get back. Jamie's in tomorrow for Bob.